Welcome back to another live stream. How is everyone doing? Well, before we go further, as usual, just want to make sure that the stream is working okay. Just want to make sure that the video feed is working fine. You guys can see me and the microphone is working. I can see the audio meter jumping around, making sure there's no echo, the voice is not too loud or no distortion, or can you even hear me or can you even see me? Like, anyone that's on the stream, if you are here already, please let me know if you can see me and hear me fine. While I wait for some feedback, let me just drink some coffee. Coffee first, always. Let's make sure everything is okay. Still no feedback. We have 19 people watching, if that's correct. Let's see. We have 39 concurrent viewers. Guys, let me know if everything is okay. Or do I have to fix anything? We have quite an interesting topic for tonight, actually. And I'm gonna do some editing live and show you guys the full process from start to finish, from raw files to the final product that I deliver to my clients. Thanks, some of you already given me some feedback. Thanks, Gregory, Isaac, and Vapagamuka. All right, as usual, I'll say hi to people first, and if you are a member, you get priorities for my responses. If you're a member, your name will be highlighted in green and the star badge next to your name. If you're not a member, don't worry, I still get to every single chat. You just have to wait a little bit longer, right? All right. Hey, Gregory, how are you? Very good to see you here. And I'm going to see you very soon, right? Can't wait for that to happen. Gregory says, how many commenters did not accuse you of using Ai Denoise software? I think the nays win. I am interested to see your process, but trolls be trolls and noticing them fits their poisonous behavior. It's not so much of me proving anything to them. Like, I don't really care what they say at this point. I mean, I'm okay if people disagreeing with me or we can have like a banter back and forth, but when that guy started calling me arrogant and a dick, then I think that's a little bit too far. Just ban him. I don't really care about him. I just thought this could be a good opportunity for me to address the common question, like, Robin, do you use the Ai Denoise software? Robin, which Ai Denoise software do you use? And yes, I do get a lot of these questions as well. A lot of people don't accuse me right away of using Ai Denoise software, but a lot of people do ask if I use it and my thoughts on the Ai Denoise software. So I thought this live stream will be the perfect opportunity for me to address that. We have a super chat. Hey, Daya, thank you so much. Happy Chinese New Year to you too. That's really early. Chinese New Year is Tuesday, right? It's this coming Tuesday in 5 or 6 days. 5 days, I think today is Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 5 days from now. 恭喜发财 to you too. And thanks for joining as a member. Wow. That's really nice of you. Thanks for the support. I really need all the support that I can get. Yeah. So I really, really appreciate that. Okay, thanks Gregory for the update. Andrew says, hey Robin, good day to everyone. Hey Andrew, very, very happy to see you. I hope you've done your Chinese New Year shopping already, or done all the preparations and all the necessary things. There's a lot to do, right? Usually before Chinese New Year, the whole list of things. Hopefully everything is going well over your side. Viper Gamuka, very good to see you. Good evening, Robin. Good evening to you too. Just got back from a whole day of shooting and thought my EM5 Mark II quit on me. Oh, the repair guy said to downgrade my SD card from 128 gigs. Seems to be fine now. Oh, interesting. I've never had SD cards more than 64 gigabytes. My biggest card is 64, so I don't really know if anything will happen if I use a 128 gigabytes card. But to be fair, when EM5 Mark II was launched, that was in 2014, right? Yes, it was in 2014. 128 gigabytes card was quite uncommon. A lot of people still use 16 gigs, 32 gigs. 64 is like a super luxury thing already. I think the most common cards back then were 16 and 32, right? So 128 may not even exist yet. Even if they do, like, nobody uses them. They're extremely expensive. So yeah, and it's only a 16 megapixels camera. Like, why do you need such a high storage storage, right? I understand these days the cards are, like 64, 128, and you want to get as much as possible storage so you don't have to worry about changing cards and everything. I understand, but I've never really tried an 128 gigabytes card in a camera, so I'm glad that the problem solves itself, right? Gary says, like all the features of the modern digital camera, the features and functions of editing software overwhelmed me. I think for digital photography, especially this, we are in digital photography era now. We're not in a film era exactly. Unless you still shoot film, that's fine. For digital photography, post-processing is a part of the workflow. It is a part of it, right? You can't take it out, right? So I believe, and it's a very important part as well. Andrew says Chinese New Year shopping is done. So the Lumix Panasonic G9 is your Chinese New Year camera? That's awesome. Yeah, perfect camera to usher in the year of the horse. Yeah. Thanks, Isaac, for the update. Thanks for Gamoka. Appreciate that. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Hi, and you are from New Jersey. That's awesome. Handmade says, ahoy Robin, and big hello around the globe. Hey, nice to see you here. Thanks for joining the stream. Jeffrey says, well, so lucky to catch the stream. Looking forward to it. No worries. I'm glad that you're here, Jeffrey. Hope you're doing great. Hi, Asru. How are you? Asru says, hello, Robin. Looking forward to tonight's topic. So we're away tonight, and we move on to celebrating Chinese New Year with happiness. Horse on. Yes, horse on. Thanks for the well wish, Asru. Rowan Catcher says, noise reduction has saved me a few times. One was a rare plane landing. At the sunset, I was close to trashing it, went on Lightroom on my PC, and it saved it. I'm not against denoising or AI or whatever tool that you want to use. As long as it gets the job done. I only care about the results. I really don't care about the process, right? But then again, it's also wrong to accuse me of doing something that I don't. Like, hey, like for example, people say, oh, Robin, you look very buff. Like, people can accuse me of cheating or using performance enhancing drug, right? Then what's your proof? Why would you do that? It's just uncalled for, right? And when I deny that, and especially if you don't have evidence to support your claims, I think it's just really unnecessary, right? Ingham Barrel says, claiming people use any tool or software is frustrating. I used to get told about my photos, hope work with panning rays, car shots. Never did it, and it was so irritating. Yeah, like, you can do actual panning without any editing, right? Like, any skilled photographer would know how to pan a proper shot, getting that motion blur in the shot to show the movement, right? I totally get your frustration, Ingham Barrel. Thanks for sharing them. Gary says, my experience using larger than recommended SD card sizes is that the device just ignores the higher address space. I think some cameras don't ignore it, but it might come into problems allocating the file slots on the larger space. I don't know, I'm just assuming because the cameras obviously were not designed for such large SD card storage back then. Yeah. Yes, good morning to you too. Very nice to see you again, Ingham Barrel. Let me just say hi to a few more people and then I'll give some updates on what's happening in my life. Fajash says, which is better between G100 and G85? Only for hobby street photo. Does G85 have image stabilization? I'm totally not aware. G85 image. Oops! The wind is so strong, it blew off my light box. But it's a good thing that it's a wind because it's so hot tonight. Oh yeah, Panasonic G85 has image stabilization, so G85 wins. So obvious, right? Let me just put this back. Hopefully, well, if the wind keeps blowing, let me just rearrange the letter a little bit. My nasi biryani. I had this for dinner. I don't think it was enough. I'm still hungry. Let me just close the window off a little bit. Just give me a moment. Alright, hopefully that prevents the wind from blowing off again. We can see a bit of reflection there. Doesn't really matter. Alright, where were we? Yeah, Fajar, G85, because it has 5-axis image stabilization. That wins. Mark says, I use 512GB cards with my Micro Four Thirds cameras. They all work. 512GB. That is insane. That is really insane. Noctilat says, today is Nasi Biryani. It is a good day. It is. It is a really good day. Gary says, but baseless accusations are a pillar of YouTube culture. I know, right? It's not so much of like, yes, obviously the guy annoyed me and I did feel offended. But he's just one guy. I don't really care. I just thought it's a really good opportunity to spin this around and for me to share more with you guys. I thought that would be a great thing, right? Like, why not? Java. Everyone says nasi biryani flew away. Nasi biryani tebang. We should do that. Whatever that is. Ashu says, oh wow, I didn't know you can rearrange letters like that on that device. Oh, it's manual. Like, I can just like add these things in. It's like, you know those movie box? Like the box office movies? And you can just, yeah. And I actually spent quite some time to arrange this. Like, because you have to find the individual letters and put it back and things like that. Hey Jeff, how are you? Good to see you here, Jeff. Thanks for joining. Hey Van, how are you? Gonna catch up with you next week during Chinese New Year. Van says just in time. Hi Robin, hi everyone. Thanks for joining, Van. Hi Cap says, good morning Robin, big fan and subscriber. I think the modern tools are great things. Of course, things are getting more and more interesting because of these tools that we have these days. Yeah, noise reduction. I can't understand why people say they are cheating. No, I think you misunderstand what the guy said. Later I'll explain the whole story. The guy didn't say I was cheating. The guy was not against Ai Denoise. So the guy basically said, hey Robin, isn't AI noise reduction or AI denoise such an amazing thing? I said, no, I didn't use it. Then he said, you clearly used it, you are a liar. Then I said, well, proper technique and lighting matter more, and these photographs don't need AI denoise. If you do, then you're doing something wrong. Then he said, Robin, you're such an arrogant person. Then he said some other things I can't remember. He said, you're such a dick. He kept insisting that I used AI denoise. He didn't say I cheat. Nobody said cheating. Nobody's against AI. I'm okay with AI. He's okay with AI. He just says I used AI, and I said I didn't, and he didn't believe me. And he called me a dick. So that was not okay. So the whole thing was not about is it okay to use denoise or not. That was never a part of that discussion. When I put this post up on Facebook, a lot of the comments, I think half of the comments are saying it's okay to use AI denoise. Of course it's okay. Nobody said it's not okay. But what's not okay is to falsely accuse me of using the software when I said I did not. So here I am to prove to you guys that I did not, right? Gary says, I remember when I was in high school, you dodged and burned that photo. Yeah, you can still do some editing in Lightroom as well. Roy Capture says, I should be getting a 17-1.8. I have the 40-150R that I replaced with the Panasonic 45-200 until I get the 40-150 f2.8. And 1250, which should be replaced by the 17. I don't really think you can replace 1250 with the 17, right? Because both are very different lens. One is a prime lens that gives you a 35 millimeters equivalent focal length, and 1250 is a zoom lens. Yes, I think it's quite versatile. I will keep both. Hey CJK, how are you? Good to see you here. Fajar says, thanks Robin, never tried nasi biryani. Oh, nasi biryani is so awesome. Yeah, another reason why I'm not on Facebook. No, the Facebook people were okay. The comment was on YouTube. I brought it on Facebook to announce that I'm doing this live stream, because I always announce whenever I have a new video or anything new on my blog or any updates. I always announce on my Facebook. It's how I connect to my community. But the comments, I think a lot of people misunderstood. Well, maybe I didn't type it clearly enough. So, well, I do have to clarify things. All right, I will put a pause on here and let me get start the ball rolling. Let me drink some coffee first. And let's go to some updates. So, interesting things happened very, very recently. If you're not aware, last Sunday I was a guest on Rob Track's live stream, and it was the annual Micro Four Thirds gathering. It's like an online conference or a mini seminar, or I don't know. It's a get together for all these Micro Four Thirds content creator, and I was very lucky to be included in this group of amazing photographers and content creators. There was Jimmy Chang from Red 35, there's Peter Forsgard, there's Marlene from Image Heaven, and Emily from Micro Four Nerds. And of course, Rob was the host. And I think it was a blast. We had a lot of time answering some questions about Micro Four Thirds, sharing our work, talking about photography in general. And the plot twist was each of us were given opportunity to ask questions, ask any questions to anyone, right? So I really took this opportunity to ask very, very deep questions to everyone, to Rob, to Marlene, to Peter, to really ask them to talk about their photography. Like Peter just launched a new book, I asked him to talk about the book. And Marlene has some really cool personal projects, I asked her to talk about her projects. And Jimmy has like this ongoing long-term project as well. And I also asked Emily about her YouTube career and things like that. And yeah, I think it was quite an interesting live stream, a lot packed with a lot of information, and these people are amazing. I learned a lot from them, and I'm truly inspired by each one of them. So if you haven't checked out the live stream last Sunday, please do so. It is on Rob Track's live stream, right? It was fantastic. And Rob, if you are listening to this, thank you so much for hosting. I think Rob did a fantastic job. It is not easy getting everyone together, and it's also not easy to keep everyone together and to make this happen every year. This is the 8th one already. So this has been going on for like 7 or 8 years continuously without stop. And I think Job did a fantastic job, right? So kudos to Rob. Of course, this is not the only one. So last Sunday was the part 1, and it is a part 2 happening this coming Sunday, also on Rob Track's channel, another live stream with different group of photographers. Also, mostly we'll be talking about Micro Four Thirds. I think this coming Sunday will be OM system heavy. It will be more. It will be mostly on OM system because I think there are several OM system ambassadors in there. I think Li Hoi is an OM system ambassador. Chris McGuinness is an OM system ambassador. So I think Dax works for OM system or worked for OM Digital Solutions before, or Olympus last time. So this will be a more OM system heavy crowd this coming Sunday. But either ways, I think it'll be fun. Don't worry about what camera brand or what preferences everyone has. It's more important to just go in with an open mind, open heart, and really listen to what everyone has to share. And if you do that, I'm sure you can learn something. There's always something for everyone to take away. And I think there were some new people here that I've not seen before. It'll be really cool as well. And I think it's important to get new people to come into the gathering year after year. I'm not sure if there's going to be a part 3. I did not ask Rob. So far, I'm only aware of part 1 and part 2. I myself will be there on Sunday, not as a panelist. I will not join the live stream, but I'll be at the chat section. So if you come into this live stream on Sunday for this part 2 of the annual Micro Four Thirds meetup, you can find me in the chat section as well. We can chat with each other. That will be really, really cool. So do support Rob Track, do subscribe, turn your notification on, and I hope to see you guys on Sunday, right? And last Monday, I released a video about using this Olympus OMD EM1 original. I used it to shoot a mini concert at Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Center. A lot of my friends were performing there. Joel, Bichu, Kristen, who else? Rachel, Ian, the director of CalPAC, and who else? I can't remember all the names. A lot of them have become my friends, and I'm very happy to see them perform. So I was shooting the show, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to use the EM1 original because I used the EM1 original before. I have had a good history of this camera. I used it from 2014 to 2018, so I used the camera for 4 years as my main workhorse. So I did a lot of weddings, a lot of event photography, a lot of portraits, did a lot of jobs, right? It has served me really well. So I thought if this camera performed really well back then, I remembered how reliable the EM1 was, and it got me all these fantastic shots, and my clients were really happy. I mean, why can't it perform well today? So I thought this would be a good opportunity to again remind everyone and myself that do not chase the latest and greatest. What you have is more than good enough, and if you can't get good shots with your old camera, maybe you shouldn't upgrade to the new camera. And yeah, so I revisited this EM1 for that shoot, and of course it gave me fantastic results. I submitted the images to Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Center. They have shared them all over the social media. They printed 12 of my images and put it up was it 12? 12 or 13 of my images, put it up at the entrance before the show. I shot the dress rehearsal before the actual performance open to public, right? So I submitted my photographs and they printed it and they put it at the entrance before everyone enters. So you can see my photographs if you go to the show before the show starts, which was really cool. And you know, they appreciate photography, they appreciate prints as well. So yeah, the camera performed well, and if you haven't checked it out, please do so. It was on Monday. And of course, something happened, right? Someone commented and accused me of using Ai Denoise software, which we'll talk about a little bit later. What else is happening? Let me see. Next week is Chinese New Year, but I'm not taking any break. Usual programming will continue to happen. There'll be a new video on Monday, and there'll be another new video on Thursday. So Monday, Thursday, videos will continue to happen, and if you're a member, you get to see my videos 24 hours in advance before everyone else. So that's still going to proceed as usual. Nothing is changing. What else is happening? I'm not aware of any photography events so far. So yeah, I think pretty much that's the updates that I'm giving so far. Nothing much, right? So next we'll have to dive into the topic already, but before that, some coffee. I'll read some chats, and then we'll go straight to the topic about, you know, like, did I use Ai Denoise or not? And yeah, let's see. All right. Hey Dan, how are you? Dan is here. Wow, has it already been a year since the last ones? Yeah, we have an annual gathering, right? So yes, it has been a year. Right, I should say 17 is my most used focal length on the 1250. I can always move closer or step backward, but I can't create more light as easily. I understand. That's why the f1.7 is great to have. I will still keep the 1250. I don't think it's an expensive lens. I think it's very convenient and versatile to have, just in case you need some wide angle shots or you need to zoom to 50, right? And it's not that large anyway. And bear in mind, the 1250 is weather sealed. So 17, the older version, is not weather sealed. Dan says the EM1 was my first camera, still such a great camera even after all these years later. Yes, I totally agree. I still love the EM1. I think it still performs really, really well. That's why I made a video to talk about it. John says, as far as SD cards, I try to use lower memory cards such as 64 or 128 in my case. In case the card goes down from data corruption, you will lose a lot less in your photos. When I stuck in the 64 gigs, can I turn on the camera? Do I have a card inside? This doesn't have a card. If I put a 64 gig, I can take like 3,000 shots or something. Let me see. This is a 3D printed SD card case. Just want to show you guys. I bought this online. I don't have a 3D printer, but I think like a lot of my friends are into 3D printing now, which is pretty cool. Got this for like $2 or something, which is... Anyway, let me just see how many photographs I can store in a... So this is obviously 64 gigabytes. Oh, can't really see under the shadow. 64, you can see this, right? 64. This is a Lexar UHS-2 cards, so it has 2 rows of pin. That's the SD card that I'm using now. Let's see, how many photos can I take? I have to delete all photographs. Give me a moment. So, one 64 gig cards, you can take 3,500 images. Or, I don't know, you Americans like to say 3,500 images. For us, we prefer to say 3,500. So yeah, 3,500, 3,500. So yeah, that's a lot for a 64 gig. And if you put in a 128 gig, that's like 7,000 images. That's crazy. Anyway, the great Vanzini says, it was a great stream with Rob Trade also. Yeah, please check it out if you have not done so, right? Thanks for saying that, great Vanzini. Handmade says, gosh, it should not even be mention worthy if not any denoising was applied on the picture. Some people's only reason for existing in this world seems to be harassing others. I think what he's trying to imply is that I couldn't get these photographs without using Ai Denoise. That the images cannot come out so clean that it's impossible to achieve with the EM1. That's what he was implying, although he didn't say it out loud, but it seems like you need this Ai Denoise to get these results. Without it, you can't. That's why I felt like, wow, really? You look so unkindly towards the EM1? That was uncalled for, right? So yeah. Ryan Catcher says, I get about 8,000 photos out of my EM1 Mark II with a 128 gig card. Yeah. So that's it, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of photographs. Yeah, Naughtylat says, yeah, I really enjoyed your last video on the original EM1. Thank you so much, Naughtylat, I appreciate that. Simone says, how come your rubber grip is still holding up? My EM1 Mark II falling apart, needs some double-side tape. This is not an EM1 Mark II, this is EM1. My EM1 Mark II has started to peel off already. So yeah, this is EM1. I don't know if you can see. This is EM1 original. This is not EM1 Mark II, right? Nice, Mark. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. Okay, let's dive right into the topic. Let's not wait anymore. Okay, let me just refresh this page. Make sure everything is okay. Now, in order to do this, I need to go full screen. Hopefully everything is fine. And I need to go full. So let me just quickly check this on my phone to make sure that it's okay, because there's no way for me to monitor on this screen. My friends keep asking me to get a dual monitor so that I can monitor things when I go full screen, and I never got a chance. Well, I don't have enough space anyway. My desk is already full with all the stuff. So let me just quickly see if this setup is working. If it is, then I'll be okay. Just give me a moment, yeah? All right. Okay, seems like it's working fine. Okay, hopefully it stays that way. So I have narrowed down to, I took a total of 1,767 RAW files. These were all shot in RAW. And I delivered 219 photographs to my client, right? So that's about maybe 15% of delivery of the total shots. So yeah, images were shot in RAW. They were taken with the EM1, of course. The lenses that were used were Panasonic 9 f1.7, which was only for a few shots. I don't think I delivered any of my Panasonic 9 f1.7 shots because I can move around. It was a dress rehearsal, so I don't need a wide-angle lens. Most shots were taken with 45 1.8, 75 1.8 Olympus. Some shots were taken with 25 1.8. Now this wide shot is 15. No, even this is 25 1.8. So some shots were 15 1.7. Even this was the one you're seeing now is 25 1.8. So okay, before I do this, I forgot to give you guys the context of what happened. I think let me just exit this first. Let me just exit this first. So now that I know that it's working. Okay, let me give you guys the context of what happened. So I shared the photographs on Monday in the video where I talk about using the EM1 original to shoot mini concert. One person commented, and I wish I have captured the screenshot of the comment before I banned him, but I did not. So lesson learned. Next time, always screenshot something before I ban someone. He commented that, wow, the AI denoise software is so wonderful, isn't it? And I was like, what AI denoise software? I didn't use any, right? Then he said, you clearly did, Robin. You are lying. All right, you cannot, like, he didn't say everything else. It's more like he's implying that I cannot achieve these results without using AI denoise software. So he insisted that I really did use AI denoise software and I was lying about it. And then I responded and said, no, I did not use AI denoise software. In fact, you can achieve these results by proper shooting technique and understanding of good lighting. Right. If you need AI denoise for any of these photographs, clearly you're doing something wrong. That's my comment. Maybe it struck a nerve or something along the way, like he felt really insulted. Then he said, no, Robin, it's so obvious that your photographs were taken using AI denoise. You are lying. You're so arrogant. And he talked about some famous photographers, which I don't remember. And the last one was, you're such a dick. So, you know, like, okay, you can disagree with me. We can have a nice argument or, you know, discussion back and forth or whatever, debate. But what's not okay is calling me arrogant and a dick. That was totally unnecessary. And this is my space. I have no need for such audience or for such viewer. Like, I don't need your negative energy. I don't need your negativity around me. I don't want your toxicity around my YouTube space. That's why I ban him, right? So why do I have to deal with someone that calls me a dick? That's totally uncalled for. So I completely banned him and I forgot to screenshot. So here's the thing. A lot of people misunderstood that he is accusing me of cheating by using Ai Denoise, right? Or that he's against Ai Denoise. He's saying, hey, Robin, you should not use Ai Denoise. He did not say that. He's saying that I use Ai Denoise, right? And I couldn't achieve my results without using Ai Denoise. So he's not against Ai Denoise. He's just saying that Ai Denoise is so wonderful that all of us should be using it. And I'm not against Ai Denoise. I'm just saying, hey, I did not use it. But he didn't believe it and he called me a dick. Let me be perfectly clear here that I am not against Ai Denoise or any software or any tools of enhancement. If you want to use anything out there that's available to you, use it. I have nothing against it, right? To me, at the end of the day, results matter. I just want to see your end results. If it is good, it is good. I don't really care how you get your photograph. And I do believe that there's a place for Ai Denoise. Like if I were to shoot images beyond ISO 6400, 2800 with a micro four thirds camera, even full frame cameras, you get quite heavy noise, right, out of these high ISO images. Then that's where the Ai Denoise software can really come in really handy to clean up the mess, right? There's a place for the Ai Denoise software, and I'm not against it. If you want to use it, use it. But here's the problem. I did not use it. I don't see the need to use it in this particular job, right? And to accuse me of using it, that was really uncalled for. Now, I have nothing to prove to him. I've already banned him. I've moved on. I don't really care about him anymore. It's just one guy. Like Gregory said, right? There's so many people who never accuse you of using the Ai Denoise software. Why do you care about this one person? I agree with you, Gregory. He's just one person and it's not significant. He's toxic. I've totally banned him. I've ignored him. But what I want to do here is to show you guys my workflow, show you guys my entire set of photographs, what I delivered to my clients, and also the before and after I edit the photographs. And I will show I will not edit all these 200 photographs now, there's so many, but I'll show you how I edit some of the photographs. Because if I were to edit the 200 photographs, it'll take like 5 hours or something. Maybe not 5 hours, maybe 2-3 hours. So yeah, and also, here's the thing. Let me just go to the Windows screen now to share. Here's the thing. What you're seeing here is not 4K because my screen is a 2K screen, all right? So what you see on my video on Monday will be sharper, will be clearer, will have better contrast than what you see here. This is a 2K screen. I'm showing you a screen capture. So if you say that, but Robin, your images look sharper on Monday's video. Yes, it is sharper because on Monday, I render everything out in 4K and this is a live stream. While the video part of me is in 4K because there's a capture card coming out from the camera, but my computer screen is not 4K. So please understand that there will be some degradation of the image quality from the 2K screen instead of 4K. I don't have a 4K screen. And this is a live stream. So it's different from a finished rendered video, right? Where I can optimize the result, upload to YouTube, and they just play back, right? But this is live stream. So YouTube will use heavier compression to make sure that the connectivity stays smooth. I think my live stream has always been very smooth, right? We've never had any connection problems. There was no lagginess whatsoever. So because of these two factors, right? I don't have a 4K screen. You're seeing 2K, and it's a live stream, so the image quality will be somehow not as fantastic as what you've seen on Monday. Okay, all right. Let's just dive into this. Let's find a photo. This is Finn. Okay, Finn. So what you can see here, you can see before and after, right? This was shot with the 75 1.8, ISO 800. You can see the as if data down there, but I think it's too small for you. If you don't have a big TV, then if you're watching from your phone or a small laptop or a tablet, then this will be very difficult for you. But if you have a large TV or you have like a 32-inch screen, this will be it will be easier for you to look at the numbers and everything. This was before, okay? Oh, one more thing. I think I've said this before in my previous live editing demonstration. You'll be disappointed. The reason I don't do live editing is because there's nothing to show. There's nothing to share. Like this is before, right? And honestly, this is raw. Directly raw before I edited anything, right? This is before. And this before shot, trust me, I can just submit this as a JPEG to my client and it still worked perfectly fine. This is before. And wait, how do I drag this? This is after. This is before, and after. There was barely any edit. So let's go 100%. All right, this is before and this is after. What noise, really? Let's go in and punch it a bit further. What noise? What noise? Do you really need denoise for this? Really? This is before and after. I'm not going to mess with the editing now. I'll go through some more images to show before and after, and then I'll show you how I edit, right? Is that fair? Let's go through the images first, and then I'll show you how I edit. This is after and this is before. What noise? Really? Okay, let's find other photographs. Let's see. There's so many to choose from. Okay, let's look at Rachel. Let's look at Rachel, right? This is before. Okay, let's zoom in. This is before. Okay. And this is after. I'll just make her skin a little bit lighter and brighter. Before and after. And honestly, I can just submit the before with no consequence. Right? Before, after. Before and after. Okay? And all the edits are on the panels on the right, but I'll go through them one by one later, yeah? So now just look at the before and after shot. And I don't edit a lot, and people will be disappointed because like, oh, Robin, what's the magic? Actually, the magic is don't edit a lot. Because here's the thing, the more you edit, the more you stretch the file, like you increase the shadow, you drag the whatever, highlight and shadow, whatever HDR thing, and the more you change the tones, the colors, the more you lose the pixel integrity, and that's where you see all the noise, and that's where the image starts to break down. But if you have minimal editing like this, then what noise? Really, what noise? So the key message here is when you take the photograph, frame it as it is so that you don't crop so much. Like I don't crop my image here, but like, why do I need to crop? This is already perfectly framed. I'm not against cropping. If you need to crop, that's fine. But don't crop until like it's 50% of the frame is gone. That's where you lose pixel integrity. And number two, don't severely underexpose or overexpose your image. That's where when you try to recover the details in highlight and shadow, that's where you lose all the details, right? The fine details, or the tonality, or the color fidelity, or that's when the noise starts to break out. All right, let's continue to the next one. Let's see. Let's look at another Rachel. Right? Okay. This is before. Now, this is where I say that when I shoot RAW, sometimes for insurance, like for this photograph, it's clearly slightly underexposed, right? You agree that this is a little bit too dark. So nothing a little bit of editing couldn't do. So they just increase the brightness a little bit. And that's it. That's before and after. And if you really want to zoom in, yes, there's noise. There is. There is noise in the background, right? This is like 400%, but who looks at images at 400%? Right? Nobody looks at images at 400%. But if you look at it at 100%, it is still perfectly fine. Right? If you don't zoom in at all, what noise? Like when I show you the photograph on Monday, it's like as if like this 100%, right? I didn't crop, I didn't zoom in. What noise? Of course you can't see any noise, right? But if you zoom in, I'm going to be honest, it's 600%, 800%, yeah, there's noise there. And if you really care about noise, we go to noise reduction on the right slider here. Luminance noise, I'll increase it to maybe 85. And see, the noise is gone. Ta-da! No more noise. If I really care about noise, but I did not. If I were to be honest with you, when I deliver my shots to my clients, all the photographs, I never touched the noise reduction sliders. They were there by default. I did not even touch it, and I don't care. Because at 100%, it still looks perfectly fine. Look at that. It's sharp, right? It's perfectly sharp. There's a lot of details. It's fine, right? Okay, enough of Rachel. I love her so much. She's such a fantastic singer. Let's look at another Finn. This is Finn again, right? Now, this is another reason why I shoot RAW, because the stage lighting changes so much. There's a lot of different tones of color. You can see that the lighting in the background is a bit yellowish, right? The lighting in front is a bit cooler, bluish or whitish. So the camera may have a difficult time to balance the different mixed lighting on the stage. So in this case, Finn appears a little bit bluish. I'm sure you can agree with that. Nothing a little bit of editing couldn't fix. Look at that. Right? So this is before and this is after. This is before, and this is after. What noise? Really, what noise? Yeah, I can see this already 200%. There's a little bit tiny traces of noise, but who looks at images at 200%? This is 100%. What noise? I don't see any noise at 100% really, right? And if you look at like this without crop, it still looks perfectly fine. It's before and after. Before and after. The trick is to do as minimal editing as possible. That's why people keep asking, Robin, how do you process your RAW files? I'm like, how do I explain this? I don't process a lot. And why I want to change the color profile and tones and everything? It all looks so good already. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not the kind of person who will edit the photograph to a point where before and after will look completely different, right? So yeah, this is before and after. All right, let's continue on. We have a lot of photographs to show here. This is Arthur, okay? Before and after. So because the background is all black, obviously the camera's metering is going to overcompensate. I think I can't see here the exact settings on the camera, but I've already dialed down the exposure compensation. Let me just check my phone if everything is okay. Let me check the latest chat if everything is fine, because I need to check from time to time, yeah? Why is it not moving? Oh dear. Am I still live? Okay, let me just go here. Give me a moment. I just want to make sure the stream is doing fine, because there's no way for me to monitor on my screen. Okay, I can see Arthur there. I can't see the live chat, but I think the stream is doing fine. I can see myself on my phone. It is so weird. Let me just come up from here a little bit and just look at the chat, yeah? Just give me a moment. Let me just come up from here a little bit. Just want to make sure the chat is fine. Okay, no one is complaining anything so far. So far everything is working fine. Okay, let's get back to Windows screen. Okay. So I said that Arthur is overexposed, right? And I've already done my best to minimize the overexposure. I think I dialed down like -1 or -1.3 EV. But because it's raw file, you can easily fix it, right? You can see this before and after. Before and after. Let me just punch in 100%. Right? This is before and after. Okay? Before and after. So all the highlights are toned down. The shiny reflection on the face is toned down a little bit, so you see the color is clearer here. All right. What noise? Really, what noise? Let's find another one of Arthur if there is. Okay, this is a nice shot of Arthur as well. This is before, and this is after. Oh no. Are we live? Let's see. Let me wait a little bit. I think we are live. Okay, can you guys hear me? Just a quick check on the audio and video. Just a quick check if you guys can see me and hear me fine. All right. Sorry about the hiccup. I think it's the processing is a little bit too much, and there's also a reason why I don't do this a lot. I do need a better computer now, or maybe the computer just overheated. Right. It's too much for the computer to handle. I wanted to do this in Full HD, but I also realized that if I do this in Full HD, then you may not be able to see the details clearly. I know that if I do it in Full HD, it will not crash, but I did this in 4K. I'm streaming this in 4K, right? So, and not many photographers actually stream this in 4K. So, all right, let's continue. Where were we? All right, I think it's working now. Oh, I need to load up the software again. So, give me a moment. That will take some time to load out the capture one. Yeah. Give me a moment. Yeah, the PC just started up, so it'll take some time. And while waiting for the software to boot up, let's go. Wow, there's a lot of chat. A lot of chat. Okay, let me just open up the software. Okay, hopefully it doesn't crash again. Okay. It is loading the pictures now. I'll give it a few moments to load. Let's see, just now I was here, right? Yet another reason I'm not on Facebook. John Martin says 5 SD cards. It was great streaming with Rob Track. Enjoyed the last video of EM1 Mark II. How come a rubber grip? Yes, some people think you can't use ISO. Yeah, Prosty says some people think you can't use ISO 800 on a without denoise software. I think a lot of people are very allergic to noise. They see a bit of noise, they immediately think that it's such a horrible thing, right? It's so obvious it's a tell. Yeah, that's true. When they think that it's an EM1, it's impossible to get clean images when you shoot in such situations. Yeah, Dan, he was projecting. He can't get clean photos in low light, so his small brain can't fathom. I think important thing is use bright aperture lens and make sure your exposure is done correctly. And use the light to advantage. Because if you shoot everything in the dark and if you're underexposed to images or if you don't get images in focus, then nothing in your Ai Denoise software or your whatever post-processing software that you use can save you from your mistakes, right? If it's out of focus, if it's severely underexposed, no matter what you do, it's still gonna look bad. Yeah. Ryan Capture says, I do wonder how you get such clear results. Mine are slowly improving. I suppose you've been shooting since I was born. Lighting, right? Lighting, don't use unnecessarily high ISO, use bright aperture lens. I've always shared this. I don't hold anything back. I share everything to everyone all the time. Whatever that I do, every single detail is shared. I don't hold back, right? I hope you realize that. Hey Kevin, how are you? Very good to see you here, Kevin. I guess I'm talking to each other, no worries. That's a cool jacket. All right, okay, let's get back to zooming 1000%. Oh, look at it. I know, right? Okay, let's get back to where we were just now. Okay, we were not here just now. Where were we? Okay, I hope it doesn't crash again, right? We were with Rachel. After Rachel, we were with Arthur. And then Arthur was, we were with this shot, right? Yeah, I was talking about this shot. So initially, this original shot was a bit warm. Right, so of course this is raw file, so I can easily just correct the warmth, get rid of the warmth easily by tweaking the white balance, no problem whatsoever, right? And what noise? It is already 100%. What noise really? And if I don't zoom in 100%, you can see it's still perfectly clear, it's still sharp, no noise whatsoever. And I wasn't even showing 100% in my images on Monday's video. Okay, let's continue and let's look at the three ladies. This is before. And this is after. This is before and this is after. They have their eyes closed. Let's find another one. Alright. Rachel has her eyes closed. I always... anyway, let's find... Okay, this is better. This is before and after. Before and after, right? Let's zoom in. Okay. So you can see... There's not much edit, really. There's not much edit. I didn't change the color tones that much. A little bit of white balance because it's a little bit too yellow. And even, okay, let's be honest here. If I didn't edit anything and if this was JPEG, it was good to go to my client. Really. And this was very close to JPEG, right? It's good to go. And there's no issue here whatsoever. But of course, I want to get rid of the warmth a little bit just to make it a little bit more neutral. Right. That's it. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, we come to my friend Bichu already. Let's find a very expressive photograph of her to show. Which one is expressive? Let's see. Is this expressive enough? I think this is expressive. Okay, this is before, right? And even this photograph is perfectly fine. Like, I can submit this photograph straight to my client, no problem whatsoever, right? This is 75 1.8, right? ISO 800. And this is after. This is before and after. I thought it was a tad underexposed, a little bit underexposed, and I think I intentionally do that to protect the highlights on her shirt, because I don't want her shirt to be blown out, so I underexposed the setting a little bit. I was shooting with aperture priority. So yeah, and this after, before, after. What noise? Really, what noise? This is 100%. I can zoom in 300% already. Right? You see the pixel is starting to break because this is beyond 100%. You're starting to look at things already pixelated. But even so, I think this is perfectly fine. Like some people look at this, oh, this is so noisy. There's a lot of noise. Let's use Ai Denoise. Don't want to see this noise at all. I'm like, really? Really? This is before and this is after. This is before and this is after, right? Okay, let's find another one of Bichu. Let's see. This is before. This is obviously underexposed, right? This is underexposed, but still in focus. Still clear. This 100% already. Underexposed. So I increase the exposure. Look. No problem, right? Like, it's fine, right? Before and after. Before and after. Before and after. Right? It's fine, right? Okay, enough of Bichu. Let's find something else. Let's see the one on the chair. This is before and after. This is clearly a little bit too yellowish, so I neutralize the colors, right? Before and after. Okay, let's see. 3 ladies again, 3 guys. Let's find something more fun. Okay, this is clearly more fun. Before and after. Before and after. This was 25, no, 45 1.8. Oh, I thought it was 25. I was wrong. This was 45 1.8. Yeah, obviously I can't remember every single shot that I did. Before and after. Let's zoom in a little bit. That's Kristen, right? After, before, after. Even before, like, yeah, it's a little bit yellowish, but I don't mind. Kristen looks okay, but on Bichu you can see the skin looks a little bit unnatural already. That's why I neutralize the colors a little bit, right? Yeah, so after, before, after, right? Okay, let's look at a few more. Okay, what else is there to show? Kirsten, let's find a close-up shot of her. Right? Before, after, before, after. Zoom in. After, before, after, before, after. What noise? Really, what noise? There's no noise at all. That's Joelle. That's the group shot. And this is, oh my goodness. What's her name? I forgot her name. Jacqueline. Her name is Jacqueline. She's the musical director. A very important person. Let's look at this. Okay, this is before. So you can see that because of the spotlight, there are some hot spots on her face, right? And there's some burn, like the highlight clippings on her face and everything, because I shot this in RAW. So I can dial back the highlights. I can recover the details, right? That's very important. Yeah. So before, after. And that's all I did for the photograph, really. I didn't change the color profile. Maybe a little bit of a white balance to get rid of the warmth, but that's it. Before and after. Okay, and that is Ian. Let's look at one of the Ian's photo. This is before. So obviously the light at the back of the stage, as I've mentioned, is very, very yellowish, right? And that's okay. If you want to submit this yellowish tone to the client, I don't think they'll complain because it was intended to be yellowish. But I thought like neutralizing the color a little bit will be nice. I mean, look at that. It's so much more pleasant, right, for the viewing. I mean, if you want to submit the photographs as close to reality, as my eyes remember it, this is the actual color that the eye sees. I'm not kidding, but for the sake of photographic presentation, sometimes a more neutral color works better. It all depends on your preference as a photographer. If you want everything to be as true to life as possible, this is it. But if you want something more pleasing, sometimes you modify the color a little bit. And let's look at the full image. This is after, this is before and after, right? So yeah, and more photographs of Jacqueline, before and after, right? Zoom in just to see if you can spot any noise. Like, of course, like if I zoom all the way here, you can see noise, right? Again, if I want to get rid of the noise, Let me just close up the things that I don't use. We're not going to use lens correction today. We're not going to use sharpening. We're going to use color editor. We're not going to use export recipes. So let's say I increase the luminance noise reduction bar to 85. Boom. See, it's already better, right? But if I dial it back to 50, which was the starting point, you can see it's rougher. And I don't care, really. I don't care. I mean, it looks fine. At 100%, it still looks perfectly fine to me. No issue whatsoever, right? Yeah. Okay, and I forgot her name, sorry. This is one of the ladies that I don't know. This is before and after. Let's zoom in a little bit. Before and after. Now the before is a little bit too cool, like it's bluish in tint, right? So I added warmth to the photograph. You can see the details on the hair and everything. It's just so, this is 200% already, this is 100%, right? Before and after. All right. Let's see. Maybe just one more shot of her here. This one. Zoom in. So before, it's a little bit underexposed, and after, I just bring back the exposure a little bit, before and after. And you can easily fix this raw without much penalty. You see, it doesn't bring out the noise much. That's why it's very important to shoot in raw. All right, there you go. I hope you guys see that I do very minimal editing, right? I'll show you how I edit these photographs later. Don't worry, don't worry. I'll show you how I edit. Don't worry. Some of them, right? Not all of them. And these are the final shots already. Right, this is before. I can deliver these shots. No issue whatsoever, right? Look at the shot, it's perfectly fine. But this is after. Just a little bit more polish. And sometimes just a little bit of editing goes a long way. All right. All right, I hope you guys see that. Okay, there are a few things to talk about here. Number one, let me just bring back all the windows first. Bring back, so that I can monitor everything. I guess I can see that. Number one, I did not apply a lot of editing. Whatever that I did is very minimal. Later I'll show you step by step of what I did for some of the images. Because with minimal editing, that's how you don't really destroy the photographs. The more you edit, the more you stretch the photographs, the more you lose the pixel integrity. That's where the noise starts to happen, right? That's when you lose details. Number two, I did not crop a lot. Most of these photographs, I frame it as it is or as close as I want to when I'm shooting them. Even if I crop, it's just a little bit, like straightening, minor crop, and that's it. Because the more you crop, the more you lose pixels, and that's where noise will happen as well, right? And of course, sometimes less is more. You don't have to do so much. The most important thing is when you shoot, try to get it right in your camera. And when everything is right, you only have to do a little bit of work to edit the photographs. I came home at midnight after the shoot. It was a dress rehearsal on a Wednesday night. I spent about 2 hours editing, and I delivered everything to my clients by 3 in the morning so that they can continue to use these photographs the next morning for their marketing purposes. They'll share on the social media to get more people to buy the tickets and everything. Working fast is very important. If you spend, like, even let's say 5 minutes on each photograph, and there's 200 photographs, you calculate how much time I'm going to need to edit all these photographs. In fact, if I were to really speed edit, if I want to go very, very quick, I can finish everything in less than 1 hour. I can. But then again, you have to understand that there were 1,700 photographs, and I have to go and choose which photographs that I want to edit first before I start editing. So there's the initial process of culling. That takes some time as well, because if you are a good photographer, it's also very important for you not to show your bad shots. The one that's out of focus, that's badly framed, badly timed. Let's say the singer doesn't have a very flattering look, or if it's underexposed, or everything is wrong. Images that are wrong, just cut. Don't deliver to your clients. Only show your best work. So that takes some time as well. And then only start post-processing your images, right? Okay, let me drink some coffee and I'll get to the chat, and then I'll show you how I edit those photographs. All right. Kevin says, good photos don't need much editing and you take great photos. Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate that. JPEG, Gregory. Always JPEG. Dan says, Robin, your videos and photos over the past year are what helped me stop pixel peeping. It was bad at one point, but I realized no one is looking at 400% on Instagram or photo app. I know, right? And if your photo is not good enough, no one's going to even look at it, right? So important is just to show it as it is. Yeah, Gregory says, I kind of like the noise, especially in black and white. It brings me back to my youth pushing Tri-X to 1600 or to the 200 on dia fine. Yeah. I mean, a little bit of noise is not the end of the world, right? I don't know why some people are so allergic to noise. They see some noise like, ugh. They're like, ew, they cringe, right? Like, my goodness. Right, yes, we are live. Thank you so much for that. Yes, I'm back. Nice and clear. Thank you so much. Ryan Capture says, you should probably take your PC in for a service, stuff like replacing the thermal paste, reinstalling soft Windows, and a good clean good to try before you spend 1500 on a new one. Nah, I think it's working fine. We have been doing live streams for more than 2 years. I have hundreds of live streams now, and this is only the second time that it crashed. And the reason it crashed is because I pushed too many things on it, right? And I mean, let's face it, how many 4K streams do you see? How many photographers do 4K live streams out there? It's not that many, right? Yeah. Gary says, a little of dodging of the subject never hurt a photograph. That's true, that's true. Yes, of course I select the images. So, as I said, there were 1,767 photographs. I cut it down to 219 photographs. So, there you go. Singing noise. Yeah, Ranksha says, I personally go for the pop-out effect of darkening the background and slightly brightening the subject. If I get it perfect, it looks 3D. Yeah, I mean, you can edit whatever that you like. I don't really care. Like, everyone has a different process and different preferences and different strategy of getting the best shot. You can do whatever you want. Like, for me, I just do very minimal editing, and I find that it works best for me, right? And I clearly show you why. Okay, let's see. Proxy says, I often regret it later when I edit too much. Yeah, that's true. That's true. When you edit too much, that's where things get disastrous, right? Proxy says, do you use Flash? You are not allowed to use Flash in this. Actually, most of these events, they don't allow you to use Flash. Flash photography is not allowed. And even, yes, Flash just makes things worse. I don't understand why people like to use Flash. Because Flash is going to push that very harsh, very like, the deer caught in the headlight kind of like look, like very stark, very a lot of burn highlights and deep shadows. I mean, it's just ugly. There is plenty of stage light shining on these singers, performers, dancers on the stage, or the musicians. Why do you need flash? Also, that's one, if you can get the flash to them. Number two, you're shooting from a distance. You don't go right in front of them and flash. You are shooting from a far distance. I was using 45 f1.8 or 75 f1.8. Flash is going to be at full power at that time. Imagine the person looking at the audience with a full power flash. What do you think is going to happen to them? They will find you and immediately ask you to leave and ban you from entering the space. Full power flash is no joke. It can blind people. And if you don't use full power, it's just not going to be powerful enough because you're really far away, right? And you will say, oh, but I can use high ISO, right? I can use ISO 1600 and use flash. If you're already using ISO 1600, why do you use flash? You get what I mean? You use flash because you want to lower down the ISO, right? If you are willing to push your ISO up, what's the point of using flash? So no flash. And no, it's not allowed in this situation. Thank you so much, handmade. Thank you so much, Simon. Process says, a bit of noise, as long as you're not getting color noise, those green white dots. No worries. Yeah. My future wife to Arthur's left. Yeah, it crashed earlier. The whole computer crashed. Yeah. Well, the good thing about YouTube is that even if you crash, you just quickly fix it and then it'll just let you auto-resume and everything just works like nothing happened. Yeah. Heck by the band guy. It is 6 years, so I mean, in the technological space, it is old, right? And I'm actually surprised that the PC is still doing really well. Yeah, we are back, of course. Thank you so much. Thanks, Van. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Bagumuka. Thank you, Iquila. Yeah. Yes, that's the thing, right? Like, that's why I don't show it in 1080, right? That's why I show it in the 4K, and that's where it really pushes the capture card and the camera and everything. Everything is just working really hard to push the 4K stream. Yeah. Mustafa says, "Salam to you, our brother country Malaysia. I think there is no need to fight with noise. Photos with noise come to me as natural like all days. Clean photos look so plastic and artificial." Yeah, tell that to the guy that called me a dick. Yeah. The Long says, "Are you going to talk to your edit workflow by steps? I'm quite new to the post-processing, so always keen to learn tips." You'll be disappointed. I'm going to talk about it, but you'll be disappointed. Be warned. Marky says, "Thanks for sharing the photos. It's good for hobbyists like me to know what's acceptable in a commercial shoot." No worries. I share as much as I can. Denoise to make it look like plastic. Yeah. Thank you so much to the great Vanzini. Thanks, Kachik Kun. There's so much noise, it looks like they are in Blizzard. Just kidding. I'm good, Santix. I'm good, no worries. Happy Chinese New Year to you too. We'll be going to Cameron Highlands. That's awesome. Oh, gonna enjoy some chill weather there. Hey, yeah. I think Chinese New Year will be really hot. It's always hot in KL, right, during Chinese New Year. Chiquilux. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry, this is a great video, my friend. I'm thinking of buying this camera, and this definitely helps my decision. No worries. Yeah, cropping in camera is your best friend. Yeah. Sunny says, "I know you shoot RAW for the bad photos. Do you still keep them or delete them?" If it's a job, I keep. Just in case. Just in case, I keep. Because people pay you, right? So, I mean, I don't mind. People pay me. So, but if it's like personal shots, I just delete them. No problem. Marky says, "My biggest problem in photography is culling my photos. I always think like, oh, this one is okay and that one can back me up. This one, photos taken in succession. I do enjoy the actual editing. I understand. But culling photo is as important as editing because you don't want to show your bad shots to your clients. You only want to show your best, right? Like the reason why some photographers they show like, wow, you know, they are so amazing is because you only get to see the amazing work. You don't get to see the lousy shots. So the trick is to hide the bad shots, right? Yeah. Cardisius says, "Good day, Robin and chat. Hope you are well. I'm doing alright. Just want to check in as I cannot stay long. I have to catch this VOD later. Hope the rest of the stream." No worries, goes well. Thank you so much. Alright, let's get to, I'll show you some photographs. I'll reset them and edit from scratch. Let's do that. But before that, let me drink some water. It's been 1 hour. Time check is 7 minutes past 11. We have 72 people watching. Alright, let's drink some water. Alright. Do we have any coffee left? Yeah, some coffee left. Okay. Where were we? Okay, let's get back to the photographs. Okay, which photo do we want to edit? Let's edit this co-director. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset. Oops. If I do that, I need to go back to showing everything, right? Unfortunately. So this is the full set of the photographs. Where was that photo that I've just reset? Where was it? Maybe I'll just edit this one. This one looks fine. Where was it? I want to find that. This one. This was it. Okay. So we are back to 000, right? Look at the everything is 000. Okay, so she looks a little bit cold. So I'm gonna increase the white balance a little bit so that she's a little bit warmer. All right. That should do the trick. I will increase the exposure a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. Decrease the highlight. Increase the contrast. Decrease the brightness a little bit to make sure the background is darker. And that's it. That's all I did. Want to see the before and after? Before and after. Looks familiar? Before and after. That's it. Right. Okay, let's find another photograph to edit. Ooh, that's a lot to go through. Okay, why don't we edit one of Ian? This Ian giving a speech. Okay, everything is 0, 0, 0, right? It's a little bit dark, so I'm gonna increase the exposure a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, this is before, so I'm gonna. So this. Okay, I'm just gonna reset first because just now was totally before. So now I'm gonna increase the exposure a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. And I think the white balance is fine, but I want to make it a little bit colder because he's a bit too warm. Just a bit colder. Okay. Decrease the highlight. Decrease the whites so that you can see the difference between the shirt. If I don't decrease the white, it's this bright. I'll decrease the white. Okay. Increase the contrast. Decrease the brightness so the background is a bit darker. And that's it. I'm done. Okay. Before and after. Before and after. Zoom in. After, before. After, before. Okay, that's all I did. So far, you guys following? Let's find something else to edit. Okay, let's edit Jacqueline. Let's reset this. So this is from 0, right? Just zoom in. All right. So she's a little bit too warm here. You can see she's a bit too warm, right? So from the white balance, I'm gonna make her cooler just by a tad, but not too much. All right. Then there's a lot of hot spots around her face. So I'll decrease the highlight. Maybe a tad cooler. Increase exposure, increase contrast. I love my images to be contrasty. And decrease the brightness so the background will pop. And that's it. That's all I did. All right. Okay. Before, after. Before, after. Zoom in. After. Before and after. You guys see what I'm doing? Okay, let's find Ian. Okay. Let's reset. This is way off. This is way too warm. So I'm going to make him a bit cooler. All right. It's much cooler here. Okay. And it's also a bit underexposed. So I'm going to increase the brightness. But when I increase the exposure, you can clearly see that the shirt is overexposed. So we're going to fix that. We decrease the white and the highlight. All right. And then we increase the contrast a little bit and decrease the brightness. Pretty much that's it. Before and after. I think it's a little bit too blue, so I'm gonna bring back the warmth just a tad. Yeah. Before, after. Before and after. Okay? You guys see that? Quite obvious, right? Like, are you disappointed already? Are you thinking that, oh, Robin applies some layer, some localized editing, edit the face, edit the skin tone separately with some frequency separation, with like 10 different layers of editing. I edit the background and the foreground separately. I make the shirt color, or I edit the colors like red separately from blue. I have like separate tones editing, split tones. Why would I want to do that, really? Let's find something else. Something. Let's see if there's anything. Okay, maybe one of Bichu's photographs. Bichu and Finn. All right, not the best shot because I obviously crop off the hand. This is one of the shots that I didn't deliver to my client for obvious reasons, right? The composition was totally off. Yeah, a lot of these things happen and you have to be very quick, and sometimes you just miss it. If you miss it, you miss it. So here the problem is that it's a little bit underexposed, but I purposely underexpose it so that I don't burn the highlights on Bichu's dress, but I need to increase the exposure now to make sure it's not underexposed, but at the same time I'll decrease the white and the highlight. So you see it's already balanced, right? And I will decrease the warmth just a tad. All right, increase the contrast and decrease the brightness. Right, that's it. That's it. Before and after. Before and after. Why? Do you think I have other secrets that I'm not sharing? Sometimes, what I like to do is I like to play with the tone curve, the tones, the curve, right? So what I would do is, if I really want to darken the background, you pay attention to the background. Pay attention to the background, all right? So what I do is, I'll drag the shadow side down there, you can see, and then I'll increase it a little bit. So you have that a little bit of faded look. A faded look. All right. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I don't. But even if I don't do that, it's perfectly fine. It looks fine. Sometimes it just looks a little bit smoother. A little bit smoother. And it just makes the background darker. All right. So again, before and after. Before and after. Okay? Zoom in a little bit. Before and after. Before. No, this is after and before and after. All right. Just a few more. Let's see who I want to show. Bichu. Is this in focus? This is not in focus. Some of my shots are a little bit off, yeah? And that's perfectly fine. You just don't show them. It can be due to a lot of reasons. It's not because of the camera's failures. Usually sometimes it's my own fault. Let's see what else I can show. This is obviously blur due to movement. My shutter speed is not fast enough. All right. Okay, let's just go further up. See if there's anything. Look at the amount of photos that I take. It's crazy. Okay, let's look at Joel. So this was already edited, so I'm just going to reset. So this was reset, right? Now, why did I rotate this photograph? I don't even remember. I clearly rotated it. But even if I don't rotate it, it looks fine. Right? And even if I just deliver this shot, it also looks fine. So I think it's a little bit too red. So I decrease the, what do you call that? The white balance a little bit. Okay. And then the highlights. You can see just now if I reset the highlight, now I decrease the highlight so that the face pops, and then I increase the shadow a little bit, contrast, brightness, right? So I like to make the tone curve a little bit smoother at the back. So that's it. That's it, right? Before and after. Before and after. That's it. Not much editing done, really, for this. Some of them don't really require a lot of editing. Kristen. Let's see. This photo is good to go by itself. This too, right? I didn't submit this. This is good to go. This was submitted, so let's just reset. Right? Increase the brightness a little bit. Decrease the highlights. I think the white balance is fine. Increase the contrast. Decrease the background and play with the tone a little bit. And boom. Done. Right? Before and after. Before and after. Very minimal edit. Very minimal. Yeah. Done already. Okay, just a few more. I think you guys know already roughly what I do. This is gonna become very boring. You'll see like, Robin, you're not even editing much. Like, what's the point of doing this? It's very boring, right? It is boring. I admit it is boring. See, before and after, there's not much difference. You can see the fade in the background. I'll show you how I do it. All right, the fade in the background. So this is a bit warm. So obviously, I decrease the white balance a little bit to make it a little bit cooler. Maybe a bit more. All right. Increase the exposure a little bit. Decrease the highlights. Increase the contrast. Decrease the brightness. All right. Now, this is the thing that I make the background a little bit smoother. There. I think it was a lot brighter than this earlier. This is something like this. Okay? So, before and after. Before and after. Okay? What noise, really? Okay, maybe 2 more photographs, if that's okay. It's gonna be repetitive and you're like, Robin, this is like a waste of time. You guys see, right? Like, I don't have secrets in my editing. Whatever you saw on Monday is already as whatever that I have already delivered, like this. It's so boring already. Okay, maybe these 3 ladies. One of the 3 lady shots. If I have them. Nah, not here. Okay, maybe Bichu. This one is not delivered. Let's see some of the better Bichu shots that I have. Okay. So, as usual, I'll reset this first. This is before any of the edits is done. It's a little bit underexposed, so I'm going to bring back the exposure a little bit. But I'll also tone down the highlights and whites. And actually, white balance looks great. I'm not going to change anything here. Increase the contrast, decrease the brightness, and play with the shadow tones a little bit. That's it. I'm done. All right. Is before and after. Before and after. Looks okay, right? Looks okay to you? After, before, and after. Okay, maybe just one more. Ah, the 3 ladies are here. The 3 ladies. Okay. Let's reset again. Reset. Obviously, it's very warm, so I'm going to decrease the white balance as much as I can to this point. It's a little bit underexposed, so I'm going to increase, because if I overexpose now, you can see Bichu here is overexposed already. You can bring that back by decreasing the whites and the highlights. Okay? And then I'll increase the contrast, decrease the brightness, and there you go. I think that's a little bit too much fade. Too much. Before and after. Before and after. Okay? I think that's good. Maybe we do... See if there's anything interesting to edit. Show it after. Arthur. Okay. Not this one. I think the one is this one. This one. Okay. Okay. Reset. Wait, it's not resetting. Oh, it's reset already. Alright, cool. Exposure looks fine. I'm not gonna touch it, but it's a bit too warm, so I'm gonna dial back the white balance. Wait. I'm gonna reset. Reset. Okay, dial back the white balance. Ah, that looks better. Decrease the highlights. Increase the contrast. Decrease the brightness. There you go. Look at that. Before and after. Before and after. Okay, I think enough already. You guys should roughly understand what I'm trying to do here. Right? I hope you guys see that there's no magic in my editing. In fact, my editing is so minimal that it's almost like no editing at all, if you can agree to that. And there are many situations where I have to deliver my shots in JPEG to my clients and demand the JPEGs immediately for immediate release to media, the press, or upload to the Instagram or other websites or social media I use. So many times I already shot the images. They are actually pretty good to go already. And of course, a little bit of editing goes a long way. All right. Okay. Let me just drink some water before I get to the chat. Are you guys doing okay? 65 people watching. So people have lost interest already after they see how I edit. Very sad, right? Like, you guys learn nothing, right, from my editing. There's nothing to show, really. I don't know why people think that editing is like the magic. It's like the trick to get good shots. Honestly, it's not. It's all in your photography, how you shoot. Editing is just the final touch, right? If your shot is already good, then you don't edit a lot. All right, let's get to the chat. Gary says, I want to see Robin's lousy shots. You've seen some already. Some of them were out of focus. Some of them were badly composed, like I cut the hand off, right? Those were lousy shots, yeah. Dan says, hey Robin, do you shoot fully manual? No, it's aperture priority. Yeah. Jeffrey says, excellent Robin, I was getting into shooting stage events in college in the 70s, so the best camera at times was Olympus EM1 with quiet shutters. I also wanted good macro. That was my intro to Olympus. That's awesome. I used Canon full frame DSLR in 2006 to 2015, but indoor hot lights with crazy lighting, Olympus has always better JPEGs, better noise as it's like film grain. That's true, that's true. And also like, mirrorless is so much better at shooting concerts or stage compared to DSLRs because what you see is what you get. You already see a final image before you click the shutter button, and if the stage lighting changes a lot, if you use DSLR, it's a lot of guesswork. The metering cannot catch up with what's happening. You don't see the final results, so sometimes a lot of your shots are overexposed or underexposed. That's why you really need to fix your shots later, spend more time. Whereas if you use mirrorless cameras, what you see is what you get. Live exposure simulation on the LCD screen or the electronic viewfinder, you can quickly dial in the exposure composition or change your settings to get the exposure to be as close as what you want in the final image. You see the results before you click the shutter button, meaning that if you look at the screen, it is overexposed, then you have to do something to prevent it from happening, right? You already have live feedback. So yeah. Jeffrey says, I think this is one of the best YouTube explanations I've seen in a long time to help people see how to do events like this. Every camera has been pretty capable since 2010 to 2012. That's true, that's true. Thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate that. And I always say this, there are no bad cameras, only bad photographers, right? Dan says, actually it's a great lesson watching you edit. It shows that getting a good shot and also less is more. Yes, I always say less. I'm a minimalist, right? Like I don't do a lot of crazy stuff. I don't carry a lot of like extensive equipments. I carry less and also shoot the best that I can. And when I edit, it's always I don't spend like 10 hours editing on this job, and even if I did, I don't think the photographs will get any better, right? I think they were already more than good enough. Don't you agree? Jeffrey says, I was actually pleased with your editing, Robin. People should have to do events to really improve their in-camera and post-editing workflow. Yes, the overall workflow matters. Like, I think what's important is to get the moments first, because if you don't have the shots, there's nothing to edit, right? Like a lot of people don't realize this. They always rely too much on editing, but then again, during the capturing process, if you don't get the shots, then there's nothing for you to edit. Or if your shots are ruined, like let's say out of focus or blur due to motion or whatever, then your editing can't save all these mistakes, right? So shooting discipline is very important. Get it right, get it as close as you can to what you've envisioned, and then the editing is just the cherry on top of the cake, right? Yeah. Gregory says, actually your editing validates my own minimalist approach, mainly removing the blue cast on the GM1 and GM5 often introduces. I think to me it's the purple cast. It's so scary. Anyway, we'll talk about Panasonic's colors some other day. I don't want to put in too many complaints in one live stream. Some people say, oh Robin, you know, I've read some people talk a lot of mean things about me on forum. They say, oh, Robin's earlier years of YouTube videos are better because there's a lot of tips and tricks. Oh, Robin's recent live streams are horrible. He just complains and rants, and there's nothing substantial out of his live streams. I was like, my goodness, my earlier years, yes, I did a lot of tips and tricks, but those are very shallow content. It's just, and those tips and tricks, it can help you to understand your camera, but it doesn't bring you far. Whereas the things that I share today, like talking about, you know, maximizing what you can do with your gear, talking about like timing, moments, and, you know, like how to optimize shooting in low light, utilizing the image stabilization to get the best results, using bright aperture lenses in dark situations so you don't have to use high. So I think these tips are way more important than say, oh, you know, like how to get sharper images or how to maximize dynamic range, or the tips and tricks that I shared earlier. Anyway, yeah, people say, oh, Robin, this complain too much. Like, whatever. Jeffrey says, I always take for granted the mirrorless advantage. You express the benefits so well. That's true. What you see is what you get. It's a lifesaver. You already see the results before you click the shutter button, right? Van says, Lightroom now has culling function, helps save me time selecting from hundreds of photos. I still look at the photos because those are my photos and I roughly know which are the winner shots. I only look at the photographs and, I mean, it's quick, right? If it's out of focus, you just immediately cull it, right? Or if it's overexposed, whatever. But because those are my shots and I was the one who took them, so going through the whole catalog of photographs is not a very painful process. And I do want to look at them because I know they were shots that I want to include for my final process. I'm not saying that I don't trust the culling process. Again, like I'm not against using any tool. Like I said, I still go through them manually, right? Sunday says, you set white balance as auto or should custom white balance? Auto. Stage, you can't set white balance, Santix. It changes the red, green, blue, purple, white, whatever color, it changes all the time. You set to one setting, like 5 seconds later, the white balance is invalidated already. So you need to allow the camera to be dynamic, to adjust itself the best it can to this changing white balance. And the advantage of shooting RAW is that you can adjust your white balance later with zero penalty. You can change the colors with no consequences whatsoever. So use that to your advantage rather than painfully like, oh, the color is too warm now, I changed the white balance. Then 10 seconds later, oh, the color changes, I need to change the white balance. I mean, like, why? You know, the less you have to adjust, the less you have to control while shooting, the more it allows you to focus on the moment, composition, and lighting, and getting the right shot, right? So minimize the things that you have to adjust on the camera and just focus on the shot that you are shooting. Yeah. Sunday says, since you shoot in Calpac a lot, common location, do you have a template editing? No, because although the location is the same, the lighting is different. There's a different lighting design for different stage setup. So let's say this was yesterday once more in Boogie Nights, right? There's this lighting setup. So next week, let's say there's Shakespeare, theater, or musical or whatever. Then they'll have a different kind of lighting already. Different lights, different colors, different intensity, different location, everything is different. And like there's no way, like... This is the problem that I get a lot, right? Oh, Robin, do you sell your presets? I mean, what presets? Like, people think that there's something that they can just copy and paste and it's just done with. There is no such thing. Even shooting under the direct sun, you can't just copy paste, right? Everything is different. Like the sunlight at 8 o'clock in the morning is different from the sunlight at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The color will be different, right? You just have to pay attention to each photograph and make sure that you customize or you adjust accordingly to optimize the results for each photograph. There's no copy paste unless you're in a room. Let's say you shoot a conference. For example, there are situations where you can copy paste. Let's say you're in this meeting room and the lighting is constant because it's fixed, right? And the intensity, the color is the same. If you always shoot in the room, then yes, you can just fix one setting and you can just copy paste for everything. But how often does it happen? Maybe if you are the photographer for your company's events, whatever, and you shoot in one location all the time, the lighting is the same, then it's fine. But like in stage, that never happens. Yeah. Hey Wolfie, how are you? Good to see you here. Hey Robin, it's nice to see you live. Nice to be seen. No worries. I don't think you are late. I think you're just on time, and always it's a pleasure to see you here. Marky says, I've spent 20 minutes masking out the subject before making the first adjustment. I mean, why? Really, I understand like some people they have this special enjoyment when they edit the photographs. That's fine if you're into graphics manipulation and if you want to edit, like do extensive editing, and if that brings you joy, then do it. But for me, it's like, no, I want to go out there and shoot. I want to play with my camera. I don't want to spend that much time on my computer. Like if I can spend just 10 seconds editing my photograph and move on to the next, I will do that, right? Especially for my street photography images, I do very, very minimal editing. Yeah. Duriel says, "Hi Robin, you might want to take a look at the new software called Rapid Raw. It was created by a youngster and has been gaining popularity on the internet lately." I have no interest. People keep asking me, "Robin, take a look at this DSO mark. Robin, take a look at this, I don't know, like whatever other software. I can't remember all the names. Robin, take a look at this. Robin, take a look at that." I'm like, there are like 500 softwares out there and I don't have time. What I want to do is shoot more and edit less. And yes, I will give you JPEG if I have to. Like, seriously. And like, especially if you are a working photographer, you need to lock down a quick workflow where you are so sure about it and it just optimizes your efficiency. So you already have this set of ways of doing things. You just keep repeating them so that every job that comes in, you spend minimal time editing. So the faster you deliver to your clients, the faster you can send them your invoice, the faster you get paid, the faster you can move on, and you don't have your jobs piling up. You don't have a backlog where, you know, like some photographers, they have weddings that is backdated to like 6 months before they deliver to your clients. Yes, it happens in Malaysia. And I don't want that to happen to me. I want to, like, after I finish the job, I edit it quickly and I give it to my client. The only way for that to happen is to stick to the software that you know inside out. I have no time for all these other softwares. I hope you understand why I have no time to play with, like, oh, this latest Topaz AI. And I understand like how some of the tools can be useful, and maybe they are better. I'm not denying that some of the newer tools are better, but like, look at my photographs. Is there anything wrong with them? Like, do I need to improve them, really? I think that's the most important thing you have to ask, right? Wolfie says, "I spend around a minute or two per image to edit, but it's mostly pushing the sliders to get the edge of the wall, but not the extreme look like Robin. I like contrast. Do denoise for all my images. It's fine if you want to denoise, denoise. I'm not against it. Yeah, let's get to the members chat. Jeffrey says, "I think I use the normal evaluative metering, even in stage with bright skin costumes and black backgrounds, but do prefer the older averaging. I use evaluative as well, but even the evaluative can get it wrong. But you will know, because the camera tells you instantly, right? What you see is what you get. If it's too bright, it's too bright. So you just quickly use, if you control manual, then adjust shutter speed or aperture, whatever. I shoot in aperture priority, so then I just dial down the exposure compensation to get the right exposure that I intended the image to look like." Jeffrey says, "Only times I don't use auto white balance are at sports venues where I measure lights and have a known white balance that isn't varying much." Yeah, if the lighting is constant, then it's fine. Stage, this particular case, the stage is obviously not constant, right? Yeah, so let me get to a few more chat and I'll share the new series of images for this week. Wolfie says, "But Ai Denoise my keepers, not every single image. I don't even keep all the images. I select my favorites and then delete the rest and denoise the keepers." I understand. Yeah. But then again, I hope you realize that from the photographs I've shown earlier, even if I don't do any denoising, it's fine, right? Like, I don't know, like someone accused me of using denoise software. That's why I show all this today, to prove that I did not use denoise software and the images still look perfectly fine. And if you want to use it, use it. I'm not against it. It's just that, you know, like the guy accused me of using it and he called me a dick for lying. I was like, really? Man, the things that a content creator has to go through these days. Who says, "For me, the easy trick is copy the edits from my first edit and paste on all keepers." You can't. The lighting, I don't know if you've seen the way I edit the photographs. Some is I have to go warmer, some have to go cooler. Like, the lighting changes all the time. And the camera already did such a good job in trying to average out and balance the light on the skin. The skin tones already look so good. If you just stick a white balance constant for all the photographs, it will be like so crazy. Some photographs will be extremely warm, some will be extremely cold, some will be totally purple, some will be very green. The camera already did a good job in balancing everything. All you need to do, I only did a little bit of adjustment. You cannot copy paste anything on a stage lighting that changes so much. It just doesn't work. If you are shooting, let's say, in a room, for example, events in a room or in a place where the lighting just stays constant, right? It doesn't change, then it's fine. You can just copy paste. But in this situation, it changes a lot. So it doesn't work that way. You have to look at individual images one by one. Yeah. I haven't shot events and parties in over a year. I had a little birthday party gig on Saturday and light was so low that f1.4 and Nikon Z6 were pushing ISO 52,000. My goodness! That is, what kind of birthday party is that? I have never encountered that situation before. if I use f1.4, usually ISO 1600 or 3200 will be more than sufficient to get like 1/60th or 1/100 of a second. So that was really extreme. So anyway, Pucho says, hello from New York. What is the difference between white's brightness and exposure? So let me just go back to the Windows screen. Okay, I need something more extreme to demonstrate this. Give me a moment, yeah? Find something more extreme. Okay, maybe I'll just find my finished edits so it's easier. Bichu will be great to demonstrate this. Bichu is a friend. Let me see. Let me find Bichu. Bichu. Where are you, Bichu? Bichu is maybe down there. Yeah, Bichu will be great. So, okay. What was the question again? My goodness. Let me just exit this. Difference between brightness. What was the question? Difference between white brightness and exposure. Okay, understand. White brightness and exposure. So white is the extreme, right? Let me just reset this part and this part. So white is the extreme. So can you see this? This is white, okay? The extreme of the highlight. Highlight is the mid-tone of the highlight, whereas white is the extreme, okay? Exposure will, so highlight and white will only touch the bright area. See, it only touch the bright area. But exposure will control the shadow and the highlight together, okay? This is exposure. Brightness is very similar to exposure. I'll say it's an extension of exposure, but exposure is more like simulating the change of aperture and shutter speed, meaning that exposure is simulating like whether you want to get one stop more light, 2 stop more light, like increasing the ISO or decreasing the ISO, but there will be penalty if you do this. Right? So be careful, don't increase exposure too much. Whereas brightness is more like how bright the subject is or how dark the subject is. I think that's the difference. I hope that explains. Right? Let me see if I have anything overexposed that I can. Okay, let's see this. Let me just reset this. I think I had another, this will not be a good example. Undo. This is not a good example. Let me see. I have something overexposed earlier. Where was it? Was it Jacqueline? Jacqueline is the one that's overexposed, right? Ah, okay. So you can see the face here is overexposed. So if I bring back the whites, can you see this? Yeah. Whereas the highlight will be the entire face. Entire highlight area, but the whites will be just the extreme of the highlight, okay? Whereas exposure will be like everything, right? Brightness will be like, yeah, how bright is the light? Yeah, okay. I hope that explains. Let me just reset this. Undo. Okay. I hope that explains. I mean, you can just play the slider and you'll figure out fairly quickly, right? There's no secret or it's not rocket science. Once you play the sliders, you can totally understand what it is. Let's see. Wolfie says, it took me quite a while to get used to dialing a good exposure with the flash to balance the subject and the background. And Nikon Z6 struggled with low light single autofocus, like no micro four thirds ever did. I should... Now, this is the thing that as a photographer, you have to be fluid. I can't just tell you I shoot aperture parity and then you just shoot aperture parity as well. You need to know when to shoot aperture parity. You need to know when to shoot manual. You need to know when to shoot shutter speed parity. And I can't tell you exactly how, when, or where. And we all have different shooting styles. Like my friend would prefer to shoot in shutter speed parity because he wants to control his shutter speed. For me, it's like, I see no point. I just want to force my aperture open at f1.8 all the time. That's why I shoot aperture parity, right? I just force it at f1.8 because if I shoot at shutter speed parity, then the F number will jump. It might go to F2.8, F4. No, I just want to force it at F1.8. And then I control my ISO manually to get enough shutter speed. That's just my way of doing things. It's no right, no wrong. Just find the way that works for you and whatever that gets you the most efficient workflow and the best results. Just stick with it, right? So for me, in this situation, I use shutter speed priority. Like for example, I shoot sports when I'm shooting tennis. You guys remember my review for the OM system 50 to 200 f2.8. I'm not going to use aperture priority for that. I use shutter speed priority because I don't want the shutter speed to drop below certain speeds. Then there'll be a lot of motion blur, right? So shutter speed there is more important, so I use shutter speed priority. So here is like, I know I want it to force at f1.8, so why bother with any other settings, right? Yeah. Someone says, I'm waiting for live how to shoot perfect JPEG in OM cameras in bad conditions. Basically, all the photographs that I've seen earlier, I can deliver in JPEG. Like if the client say, Robin, I need your JPEG files, I'll just deliver the JPEG to them. There is no such thing as perfect JPEG. But there is such thing as for you as a photographer to make sure your lighting is correct, your photographs are in focus, and you frame them correctly. That's it. It's your job to make sure that you get the shots right. I think Olympus and OM system cameras are doing a great job in handling white balance, even in very challenging situations. I'm not saying it's fail-proof. Most of the time you'll get it right or close to almost right. I've never had an issue where the color is totally off. But like if I have to deliver this in JPEG, and sometimes I have shown you, right? Even if I don't edit the photographs, they were good to go. So there you go. And it has to be that way before you start editing, right? Because if you don't have a good base to edit from, then whatever you edit will be useless. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Okay. Sambora says, I'm a beginner and pick up photography video as a hobby. That's great. I think it's a great hobby. Samara says, how do you find the passion and motivation to bring your gears out to shoot? If you love what you do, you will bring the cameras out to shoot. Like, I'll find every single excuse to bring the camera out to shoot, right? Like, I wish I could shoot all the time, but I can't. I need to rest, I need to meet clients, I need to do jobs, and I need to make YouTube videos as well. But if it was up to me, if I have, let's say, $50 million in the bank, I don't have to work a day in my life, I'll just shoot every day. I'll just shoot, and I don't care about the world. Yeah. Prosty says, what do you think of the G9 versus E-M1 Mark II? I'm looking to buy my first professional body, and those two are close in price. E-M1 Mark II, face detection autofocus. G9 doesn't have it. That will help you in your autofocus. Isaac says, I feel like Olympus OM color profiles are underappreciated nowadays. Every time I see a straight out of camera colors from Sony, I always think to myself, ook, no thanks. Yeah, I can't comment much on Sony. It's newer cameras because I've not used like A7R Mark V or A7 Mark V. I've used some of the older cameras like A7 Mark II, Mark III. Yeah, the colors are pretty bad. Chuck says, culling is such a grind, but it leads to a color I can open up and enjoy at any time. That's true. Culling is very, very important. After culling from shooting at 60 frames per second, I stopped shooting at 60 frames per second. Aquila says, I own E-M1 since the end of 2019 until it broke down, and at the end of 2025, the camera delivered quite a number of good photos, despite most of the time I use non-Olympus lens without autofocus. All right. Jeffrey says, I adjust shooting style to the best for the particular event. Aperture priority sometimes, shutter speed sometimes, full manual sometimes, use what's best. That's why we have them. Exactly. Different tool for different environment, right? Yeah, Jeffrey says, and what works well for you and your client is what works well for you and your client. We are all a little bit different. That's part of the fun of photography. We always will be willing to learn. Yes, and like you don't have to follow the way I do things. If you want to edit more, like spend more time editing, that's entirely up to you. If you think that my photographs are not good enough, you can do better than me, then of course, go ahead and edit the way that you like. I'm not saying that you must follow the way I do things. The reason I'm showing you this today is so that you can understand, number one, I did not use Ai Denoise software, and there's no need for that. And number two, I do so little editing that it's not really worth for me to talk about my editing at all. Because people have been saying, Robin, how do you edit your photographs? Robin, do a post-processing or editing video. Robin, like, share your editing. I'm like, I think I can finish showing this in 1 minute, right? I can't make like a 10 minutes video. And for YouTube to make money, like, you know, for the video to work, or for the algorithm to push to an audience, I need a video that's more than 10 minutes. Or anything like, I can't just make a video for 2 minutes, right? Like, what is there for you to share about my editing? There's nothing. I edit so little, right? So I hope you see that. Let me go through just a few more chats, and then I will get to the photos. Aquila says, Topaz Denoise is very demanding on computing power, very slow on computer without dedicated graphics processing unit. Yeah, I guess it is very graphic intense, right? Duriel says, you sure it was little birthday party and not a cult activity? Would be kind of scary to think about it. I don't know why people in UK like to turn the light so low that it looks almost like moonlight. Wow, really? That must have been a nightmare. Hey, all they had was a chain of little LEDs on the ceiling and wall lights that barely reached the end of the table. Yeah. I had a situation where, this was even before mirrorless, yeah? This was like DSLR time, before Micro Four Thirds was even born. So imagine back then, ISO 400 is already noisy, ISO 800 is like really, really bad. And there's this wedding client that asked me to shoot like it's a candlelit situation, and they said no flash allowed. I'm like, sorry, find another photographer. I'm not gonna do the job because I know I can't get any shots for that client. Yeah, Duriel says, fair point, Robin. Personally, in concert, I use fixed white balance only for my viewfinder, usually a warmer one, so it doesn't strain my eyes. But then again, like, depends on the concert. If it keeps changing lights, like, how? Seriously. Okay, we have enough. I've caught up with the chat already. Let me drink more water, and we'll share one set of photographs for tonight. Right. Okay, photo. Where were we? Okay, so I bought a camera. I'm not gonna tell you what camera it is, but the camera will be reviewed next Monday. So if you're a member, you'll see it on Sunday night, or 24 hours before the video is published, because you're all at different time zones, and yeah, it may not be night for you, but it'll be on Monday's video. And this camera, I bought it specifically for Chinese New Year. So I think some of you who are familiar with Chinese New Year will understand some clues about what the camera is. So I brought the camera out to do some shutter therapy session. I will not tell you what camera it is, but if you guess it correctly, I guess I'll just review the answer, but there's no point. I don't think it's that easy to guess what camera this is. So this was at Masjid Jamek area, overlooking the River of Life, and there were some workers doing maintenance at the side of the river, and that part at the top is already inside the mosque, the Masjid Jamek. So I thought it's nice that there's a strip of light coming down and highlighting the man at the top there, and there's a river down there. I thought that was quite a cool scene, right? And I love shooting in the morning where the light is directional. I know some parts of the world will have directional light throughout the day. We don't get that in Malaysia. Our directional light is only like maybe from 8 to 10, and after that, we have about 2 hours window, which is more than enough for us to do street photography, because after that we'll be like too tired to do anything, right? If you're walking around for 2 hours, that's a lot. And it gets too hot after 11, and it just, by the time you wish you'll be somewhere cooler, sitting down, enjoying an iced tea or something. So yeah, this was early in the morning when the light's directional, and this is a back entrance to a shop. So the guy just went in, he was about to close the door, and he was looking out, and I like that there's a strip of light highlighting half of the body and part of the face, and it just makes it pop immediately. Highlight and shadow, this is a classic trick to do street photography. Reflection is another trick for photography. Street, some cool reflection, a reflective wall where I just stick the camera to it and just wait for something to come, and it's the man there walking by, and yeah, just create like a mirror image, half reflected. So that was pretty cool. And this is direct sunlight. Because it's Chinese New Year, so all Chinese New Year is coming, so I'm looking for brighter colors. So whenever there's red and yellow, which are auspicious colors for Chinese New Year, so I captured this in this particular situation. And I waited quite long for some people to come in. I wish it was just one person, but there were two, so it doesn't really matter. And there was a yellow door. That's actually a door, which is pushed against the wall. Both bright colors, red is bright, yellow is bright, but the yellow sort of like boxed in and isolates the subject from everything else. So when the people walk in, and I frame them directly inside the yellow door. So yeah, there you go. And Portraits of Stranger, of course, you see all these photographs on Monday when I talk about the new camera. You see this on Monday again. So I thought you guys want to see a preview first before Monday. Portrait of Stranger, and getting close to the stranger as usual. Of course, no denoise was used in any of these photographs. It was shot at ISO 200. What noise, really? And a red on red, of course, Chinese New Year red is a very auspicious color. It symbolizes strength, vitality, and prosperity. So I intentionally looking for anything that's red in my frame. I'll capture it. So I waited for the man to be in the middle of that rectangle opening. There is framing perfectly, and then there's the red car in front. So I just matched the red against the red, right? Red again, Malaysian flag has a lot of red, and then there's the cover. What do you call that? Not curtain. I don't even know what you call that thing. I'll just call it curtain for now. The red curtain as well. So the flag, the curtain sort of created multiple layers of things you can see, and then the highlight and shadow just added more depth to the photograph. This part that is brighter and darker, it just makes everything pop, and I love the combination of colors in this one. Dominant red, of course, Chinese New Year, that's something very, very good. Blue now. Blue is not a Chinese New Year color, but I just can't help it. This, and again, a back entrance to another store or a supermarket, and all the workers there were wearing blue. And that's the locker where they store all the things at the back, and I just like how all the blue colors match everything so nicely. And I like that there are a lot of actions happening. Like, see the lady on the left went down to pick up something, and then there's a lady next to her reaches up for the bottle, and the guy also reached up, put the helmet on the top, and the other lady is pinning something on her dress. So it's like everyone is busy doing something, and it's just nice. All the chaos comes in together nicely to form this photograph where everything is coordinated in blue, right? And yeah, again, yellow and red and yellow are colors of Chinese New Year, although this has nothing to do with Chinese New Year. But then again, in street photography, we like to look for things in odd numbers. 3 is a very good number for street photography, so there's a repetition, odd number, and then there's color as well, red and yellow combination. I just thought it just comes in together nicely. Appreciation of shape, colors, repetition, right? Reflection again, the lady is waiting for the shop to open. She's sitting there chilling, and I saw a puddle of water. So I went down low using the tilt screen and captured the shot of her waiting there nicely, right? So yeah, tilt screen, very important for street photography. And yeah, I sort of like instinctively took this photograph because I didn't think that it'll be a good photograph. But I like that there's like some shininess, like the light partially shine on the person. Although the background is not exactly dark, like you can see some reflections of the light off the wall from the morning. But then again, what actually drew me to this photograph was that arrow on the road, right? So the arrow and the man pushing the luggage, walking by, and the shirt color is white and gray. And then the road is also gray in color, but the arrow is white. I thought that matches really well. So yeah. Again, this was the same shot, well, not the same shot, the same location as the guy peeking through earlier through the back entrance. That's the same back entrance, just a different guy walking by, again with the harsh light and shadow. I thought it makes a really nice color, and not many people wear purple, which is not a very common color. So whenever I see purple, I get a little bit excited as well. So yeah, shooting through a hole or a gap, matching the colors from the hole versus the background there versus the dress of the person, they all come in very nicely, right? Brightish pink or magenta or maroon, all of them matches very well. I thought it's a nice scene with some nice patterns and lines and texture, everything coming in really nicely together. So yeah, and just a scene of a coffee shop or a kopitiam here in Malaysia, the light shining on it in the morning, highlighting it, waiting for people to sit down and have breakfast. It's a very typical scene here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, or any parts of Malaysia really. And this should be the last shot already. This is a different shot. This should be the last shot that I want to share for today because it's almost midnight already. Just a random building. I thought the shape of the building was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. So just a random shot of the building. That's it. The model of the camera will be revealed on Monday, on the Monday's video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the short street photography series. I took this just a few days ago. They are really fresh, and I can't wait to show you guys that camera. Let's get to the chat. Jeffrey says, in September 2013, I shot the night cityscapes during Mooncake Festival over Puchong. Is it Puchong? With EM5 and Olympus f1.8 primes plus a manual fisheye lens. Handheld image stabilization was really helpful. Alright. I bet you got some really good shots. 2013. Hey, September 2013. I just joined Olympus. I joined Olympus in September 2013. That was my first month. It was very stressful because the boss or the person who hired me got me in just before the launch of the EM1 original. EM1 original was launched, I think, late September or October 2013. There were a lot of things we have to do. Like when I joined the company, right from the start, I was thrown into the deep end. I had to appear in front of customers, events, and start talking for Olympus. It was a good experience. I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun working there, and yeah, I just thought, wow. That reminded me of some really stressful times in the company. When you see purple, do you pull out your older Panasonic? It wasn't a Panasonic camera, no. And I thought the purple shirt was really cool. Dan says, really like the framing of the pink photo, very cool. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Woofy says, I can't shoot events all that much because of my anxiety. Just 1 hour of a birthday party gave me 160 frames, heartbeats per minute for 4 hours and 100 for 24 hours, even when I don't do anything or sleep. Wow, that's really serious. So sorry to hear that. Yeah, I think if it doesn't help with the situation, then don't force it. Find something that works for you and do things that doesn't put you in a situation where you have to suffer, right? It's not really worth it. I think your well-being is worth more than anything else. Definitely prioritize yourself first than other things. Yeah. Dan says, Robin, do you happen to remember any discussion about when they chose the silver version? That's my favorite version of EM1 Mark 1. I actually happen to have one. No discussion, because whatever happens to the EM1 was before I joined. So when I joined, the EM1 was already there, ready to launch. So all the planning must have done 3 hours before 3 hours. 3 years. Well, let's say 3 hours. I think that's a sign for me to stop this live stream already. So it was done maybe in 2010, 2011, when they were planning for the EM1 original, and when it was launched in 2013, it was already there. Everything was already laid and set and finished, just ready to sell, right? So whatever discussion must have happened the years before, and I wasn't part of that discussion, unfortunately. But what I can tell you is that the reason why they do all these color variants, especially like, I don't know if you remember, EM10 has some special color variants like green or orange as well, which is really cool. Now I wish I have the orange EM10 because it looks so cool. Even the EM5 Mark II had the titanium version. I don't know if you guys remember that, the titanium limited edition. And all this were to create like a marketing hype, because they don't have enough products to keep like increasing the hype. So let's say they launch EM5 Mark II, so there's a hype and then it dies down, right? So to bring the hype up again, they have to do something. So that's where the color variants come in. They say, oh, we have this special color variant, EM5 titanium, EM5 Mark II titanium. So then there's a little bit of interest coming up before they launch the next significant product. That's one way to create more awareness and to continue to stay relevant in the public eye. At least that's what the marketing thinks. I don't know how it works. It's not so much like they want to sell the EM1 in silver or EM5 Mark II in titanium or EM10, all these color variants. I don't think they care about the sales numbers, but they care about the upward trend of the awareness of the market. Like whenever something is launched, then they create the market awareness. Yeah. Woofy says, Robin, any idea why Olympus never made any primes between the 8 fisheye? 8 and 25. The 4/3 stays, that always bug me and keeps me curious. So the 4/3 stays, I wasn't around again. I only joined in 2013 and they already phased out the 4/3 or discontinued the 4/3 era or system. But what I understand is back then, they say something like this. They don't want to do anything below f2. They say that the f2 was the absolute brightest they can go without compromising image quality or whatever technology that they had back then. If they go f1.8, f1.4, or do any prime lenses as what you have requested, then there will be too much compromise and the engineering will not be satisfied with the final image quality that the lens can render. That was their explanation back then, right? Of course, things change. When they go micro four thirds, then we have all these f1.8, f1.2 lenses that we enjoy today. Yeah. That makes sense. No worries. Jerry says, you think as more generations grow up with digital photos and smartphone photography, the noise argument against small sensor is sort of waning? Good picture is a good picture. Yes, I think good picture is good picture, and I don't think noise is a very big problem already today, but I think also like the issue now is that full frame cameras have gotten so cheap, especially the used market. We're not talking about the latest one. The latest one will always be the most expensive. Like you can get a Nikon Z5 here for maybe, I don't know, $2,500 US, so $600 US. And you can get a Canon RP, a full frame camera, legit modern mirrorless full frame camera for maybe $400 or $500 US or less. And if that's the case, then you know, like, why do they want to invest in a micro four thirds, which to them, when they look at a tiny sensor, is still gonna give them that inferiority complex, right? Bigger sensor is better. That has been the hype all this time, and it doesn't help that, you know, we also have a lot of third-party lenses that are quite cheap for full frame. So I think micro four thirds is facing a struggle, not so much of the noise or image quality. It's just that, like, with the same price, why don't I get a full frame? You know, it's like, yeah, a lot of people still argue that, how about the long lens? Oh, but then how many people actually use long lenses, really? Like, I see a lot of these youngsters, they go about doing whatever photography that they do, those influencers, taking photos of travel, everyday, whatever, nice shots at the cafe, or shots of themselves, like taking nice outfit, fashion, right? They don't really care about noise or whatever, but they do care about the money they spend. And then when they look around the internet, hey, you know, like, bigger sensor is better. No one is denying that, right? I also say, yeah, a bigger sensor will give you better results. It's just facts, right? Yeah. Jeffrey says, one argument for more megapixel sensor is that in events like this, more possible compositions in cropping sometimes. I don't even crop my photographs, really. I can see the appeal to that, but do you even have time to crop? A lot of times, like, I don't even have time to crop. And I understand, like, if you have a lot of flexibility or you have time to really, really polish your shots, then that's when the cropping comes in. But there are times where you just have to deliver the shots to a client immediately, and sometimes in JPEG, right? And that's where, like, you don't even have time to crop, really. Jeffrey says, Jimmy was discussing fall off in full frame shipment. I don't agree with that. Full frame shipment does not fall off in 2025. I don't buy it. And if you look at the data from last time until now, full frame has never been at the top. It has always been crop sensor, and the top 10 cameras were never about full frame. They were always APS-C cheapest cameras. Even from the DSLR days, we're talking about Canon 400D, Nikon D3000 series, or D3200, right? The cheap cameras, the sub $500 DSLR cameras. And then there's always the mid-level cameras like the Canon 40D, 50D. They will do really well as well. And there's the Nikon like D90, D80, or D7000 series. All those are crop sensor cameras. And these crop sensor cameras do way better than the full frame in terms of sales. I mean, it was the trend back then. I don't see how things have changed. Even today, if you look at the best-selling cameras, it's the crop mirrorless cameras like the A6000 series from Sony, or Fuji is also crop sensor, and Fuji is doing really well last year, so no surprise there. It's a big boost in terms of sales. And then also like Canon R50, for example, or R10, or Nikon Z50 Mark II, or Z50, or Z30. All these crop sensor cameras have always been selling better than full frame. I mean, who doesn't know that, right? And combined with micro four thirds, which is also cropped, of course, crop compared to full frame, crop sales will always be better. Like, the Sony A9 or A1 or A7R will never be the number one selling camera. Let's face it, right? And I don't think there's a drop. I just think that the crop sensor cameras just basically sell more because it's more affordable. People can buy them just like that without throwing $2,000, $3,000 on a camera and then another few $1,000s on lenses. Because for crop sensor cameras, you just spend $500-600 and with a lens. That's why it has always been doing well. I think it will continue to do well. I don't think that's going anywhere, and I don't think that trend is going to change. Right? Dan says, I started with Micro Four Thirds, went to full frame because I thought I was missing out, but the small size mixed with great colors and image quality. I use Micro Four Thirds stuff more. My EM5 original gets used the most. Yeah, I have another video on the EM5 original coming up very, very soon. I really like the camera as well. Jeffrey says, sometimes in sports action, there are more crops possible in a shot. We shoot from sideline and cropping is pretty standard for professional during action, often use fast primes. Professionals shooting sports may not even have the time to crop. So what they do is when they shoot, there is a transmitter on the camera and the photograph goes to another person in the media center. So as they shoot, the person, the reporter, another person there receives the photograph live. Maybe the person will edit the photograph a little bit, like crop a little bit before sending it to the news. But I can tell you that the photographer himself has no time to crop the photograph. If any cropping is done, it's done by someone else, the editor or someone else writing the news or publishing on the newspaper, right? The photographer has very little control on the final edit because his job is to get a photograph and the photograph will be transmitted wirelessly. Fun fact, I was invited to, I don't know why, I was invited to Tokyo Olympics in 2020, right? The year of the pandemic. Oh, was it 2021? 2020. I got an invitation before the pandemic hit. I was like, then they told me that, oh, you will have this, you can enjoy using this media center where you can deliver the images. I was like, but I'm not with any agency. I'm not a working photographer. I'm not a sports photographer. Like, why do they invite me to this? And I checked do some background check, and the invitation was legit. I was like, wow, I got official invitation to shoot the Tokyo Olympics, which was insane. Like, what the hell? Anyway, that was then. But yeah, then in the brief, in the invitation and everything, there was the media center when they talk about like all the equipments that they have, the setup and everything, which was pretty cool. Yeah. Jeffrey says, actually only a few use transmitters. 80% of us do not do that until after shooting for UPI and Cal Sports. Okay. Well, the friends that I know working for AP, Associated Press, and Reuters, and Bernama is a local agency in Malaysia. They all use transmitters, though. At least the friends that I know, right? A few key ones, NCCA, and that afterward from the media center. Okay, I understand. No worries. Chuck says, I do like how Micro Four Thirds allows me to keep 12 to 300 equivalent in one small bag. Yeah, small equipment wins, right? Jimmy had the numbers showing the drop in sales. I forgot the FPSC landed. I don't think so. Also, the numbers are not up yet though. The actual numbers for the market share, the camera shipment data that we get every year, the Nikkei data from Japan showing cameras shipping out from Japan, we don't have that yet. The exact percentage of every camera brand breakdown, like how many percent Nikon, how many percent Canon, we don't have that yet. So until we have the actual data, I wouldn't be so sure about full frame sales being dropped. So sales, see, this line is very tricky. There's no way to track the sales around the world. Like, are you going to go to every single retailers or retail shops and ask them for the data? There's no such thing. So what you can track, or what Japan has been graciously giving us the data, is the cameras going out. The shipment data, right? And I don't think we have the data yet. How many cameras are being shipped out of Japan, right? And that is a rough indication of sales, so we don't know exactly whether the numbers is increasing or decreasing, so we don't really know that. Yeah. But how do you track camera sales? It's virtually impossible. Wolfie says the biggest profit companies for Q4 2025 are Canon and Fuji. Nikon posted over 600 million loss. Yes, the company numbers, no doubt, is made available because these are publicly listed companies. They need to report their revenue or loss and profit if there is, so we can see everything very transparently. So this data is available, but how many cameras that is being sold, whether it's full frame or APS-C, it doesn't really matter, right? Yeah. Marquis says, Chinese New Year camera, EPL8, GS8, GS80. No. 8 millimeters? For this kind of shots, really? 8 millimeters? Are you sure? 8 millimeters to get this kind of shots, really? Anyway. Alright, I've caught up with the chat already. Time check is 15 minutes past midnight. We have 63 people watching. I'll hang on just a little bit more. If you guys have anything to ask, I'll answer them or respond to them. Let me just drink a bit more water. Yeah. No, I don't buy the shipment, not the shipment, the drop in sales data. I think Jimmy got the data from 43 Rumor site, right? Let me just go to the 43 Rumor site and see what the data actually is. It must have been last week's data already, or earlier this week. Let's see, 43 Rumor site. Not even on the first page already. Hasselblad, a bit of everything. Wow, I'm going on the third page. Panasonic financial report, sales and profit decreased, forecast cut. Panasonic is doing very, very, very poorly. And they say that the L-mount alliance is a good move to go full frame, right? I think it's a very, very poor decision. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Okay. Was it not reported on the 43 Rumor site? Was it on Petapixel? Maybe it was on Petapixel. I don't know. I can't find anything here. DJI, a bit of everything. I can't find anything on 43 Rumor site. Maybe it wasn't there. I was wrong. I could be wrong. I thought I saw it there. Where was it? Where was it? It wasn't there. Just trying to trace this. Okay. Let me just do a broader search on Google. Oh, it was in Digital Camera World. 4th of February 2026. Okay. And let's see what it says. So it's SIPA numbers. Japanese Camera and Imaging Products Association. So is it sales in 2025? Or it's the camera shipment data. 9.4 million cameras shipped worldwide. 6.3 million are mirrorless. So there's actually still 3 million DSLRs being shipped out. That's crazy. See, a lot of people use DSLR. Okay. No, sorry, DSLR numbers is 690,000, which is still a significant number. In 2025, APS-C bodies were 4.45 million. And full frame is 2.54. But compared to what? Okay, let's break down. They didn't say the comparison to the year before, right? I don't know. There's no breakdown though of each brand, and there's no like comparing from 2025 to 2024, like how much more is the crop sensor body being sold, or how much a decrease in full frame cameras. Right. No such data. Or maybe there is, you just have to read the full report, which I'm not going to do that. Right. Crop body. Okay, it says 11, 12 mirrorless cameras grew by 12%. Okay. What if I go to this link? Not much information. Like, you can't draw any conclusion from this, right? Because full frame was never at the top. It's never the best-selling camera. Like, who told you full frame is the best-selling camera? It has always been crop sensor from day one. It was never full frame. In fact, it was compact point-and-shoot camera at one point, right? And then a DSLR. And then within the DSLR, and then there's entry-level DSLR that's selling the best. And then there's a mid-level, and then there's the top-level full frame. Full frame was never really at the top best-selling camera list. Yeah. Jimmy's live taught you to see that he's using official stats reported end of January. I don't think this kind of stats is available monthly. I think the stats is available yearly. And if that's the kind of stats he's pulling out, then maybe it's just some sales data in Japan, one of the camera stores. I don't know. Yeah. No, I don't think I want to get into this discussion because it's pointless. And here's the thing, right? From 2023 to 2024, it shows a sharp decline, not the crop sensor, but Micro Four Thirds was doing so miserably. From 2023 to 2024, both OM System and Panasonic were literally shrinking. Now, I'm more interested to see from 2024 to 2025 if there's any improvement at all for both OM System and Panasonic. I'm guessing OM System may stay about the same because we have some new products last year. We have OM3 and OM5. I'll be very happy if OM System reports increase in market share, but I'm quite confident to say that Panasonic will shrink even further. I don't think Panasonic is doing well last year, right? If that's the case, if Panasonic is not doing well, because they're also Micro Four Thirds, and the OM System stays the same, it also means that overall, the market share for Micro Four Thirds will still continue to shrink. That is a more practical way of doing things. Like, I don't really care about the crop sensor from Canon, Sony, Nikon. They have always been existed since forever, right? And they've always been doing well. I've never remembered a time where crop sensor cameras were not doing well. So discussing that crop sensor cameras now have more sales than full frame, it proves nothing. It proves nothing. And it doesn't invalidate anything about full frame cameras as well, right? So, like, seriously, I'm more interested because I care about Micro Four Thirds. I don't care about all this Canon, Nikon, Sony, crop sensor, whatever, or Fuji. Like, I don't care about what they're doing, but I care about what OM System and Panasonic are doing. So I really hope that I can get the act together and shift things around. But looking at things, it's quite unlikely that things will improve in 2025. Looking at what happens last year, Panasonic is basically doing nothing, like nothing at all for Micro Four Thirds. And OM System, yes, they're doing something, but did they do enough? We've have this discussion already previously. So I don't think I want to get into this kind of discussion that, oh, full frame is finally shrinking. Like, that proves nothing. Trust me, Sony and Canon are doing so well last year, right? Even Fuji, they're doing so well. The only problem is, the only question we have to ask ourselves is OM Digital Solutions and Panasonic doing well? That's the important question we have to ask ourselves. Yeah. Hoovy says, I think there's an obsession for silver Micro Four Thirds lenses. The 75 f1.8 looks so nice in silver. Wolfie is so nice. I have silver 12 to 50. I would love to have that. Hey, I've only held it once. I can find one now for about slightly less than 200 US dollars, maybe 180 US dollars. Olympus 40 to 150, but not R. Panasonic 25 5.7. I was able to snag them from Japan for £63, 32 and 50. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Jeffrey says, well, when I watched it, reminded me a lot of what you have suggesting for Micro Four Thirds for some time. I suggested Micro Four Thirds to get an act together. Like, seriously, they are shrinking, right? And this has nothing to do with whether it's cropped or full frame. It's just Micro Four Thirds as its own category. Yeah. Simon says, people buy DSR again. Pentax made good move. No, the DSR continues to shrink. I mistakenly said it was 3 million. No, it's only about 690,000. It's not a good number. Yeah. Marcus says that was SIPA numbers that Jimmy used. Okay. Micro Four Thirds forever. Yeah. But then again, he doesn't have the breakdown for every single brand, right? Like how many percent Canon is in the market share, or Sony, or Nikon, Fuji. We don't have that data yet, right? For 2025, it's not released yet. I'm pretty sure it's not available. I don't see it anywhere. Until the data is released, there's no point talking about full frame or crop sensor. It's just pointless, right? We don't have anything to compare with. WSS says there are multiple ways to analyze data overall by sensor size, by brand, etc. To say full frame went up and full frame went down, needs to have context to be meaningful. Exactly. And I don't see any data compared to the year before. Like, let's just say went up by how much, or went down by how much. That's totally pointless, right? Yeah. Marcus says, I know Robin doesn't like this lens, but the Panasonic 20 f1.7 is discontinued. I'm sad. There are so many in the used market. Don't be sad, just snag one. All right, I think we've come to the end of the stream. It's almost midnight. I've shared a lot already for tonight. Yeah, sorry, I missed this from WSS. He says, the real question is, how is OM's market share doing? Yeah, I asked this already, right? Like, I'm more interested in OM system and Panasonic. Like, how are they doing? Do they show growth? Are they shrinking, or are they getting better? I think, like, that's more important to us, right? I don't really care about everyone else. Yeah. Okay. Hope you guys have enjoyed the session. I hope you guys have enjoyed looking at my very minimal editing, and I hope you guys understand why I don't do a lot of editing videos, because it's gonna be so boring, and I hope I have not bored you guys to death. Yeah, and if you have enjoyed this, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or contribute to my PayPal, or support me in any way that you can. All links in the description below. And I'll catch you guys next week, or the next live stream, which will happen 2 weeks from now. Until then, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.